test here. Yeah, sounds pretty good. That's right. So I'm changing the mic because the nice mic that I use is doesn't enable me to hear external audio. So there's a kind of a now. We're going to wait around here for a second. Now, hopefully you guys watch the Philippines. So let me just go ahead and say something right now to begin with. Because I've noticed many people from, and many people from developing countries, and I think it has to do with the way the culture is and the way the laws are. When you say something, you criticize their country, they take it personally and they get offended. And it's especially true in Vietnam. Um, but this is what I've, and it has to do with many things. In the West, we don't really care that much because we have clearly, more open, freer speech. In these other countries, it's not as free, and so not only are people not used to criticizing, I think it's embedded in the culture by, their establishments to kind of keep them in check. I'm not going to get into that, but that's what I've noticed. Uh, so they take it personally. And, and I've noticed in Vietnam, you can kind of tell one of these like ultra communist loyalists in Vietnam. They're usually, from Hanoi. Anything you say, they go ballistic, and they take it. Even when you're not even criticizing the country, they see it. They see it that way. That's how you can spot typically these kind of like Viet Cong people. Meanwhile, many of the Vietnamese, if you'll notice, that are maybe overseas, they like criticize the hell out of Vietnam, and they trash the government, all this stuff. I don't have any problem with Vietnam or the government or anything. The Vietnamese people are very, generally speaking, they're very friendly, they're very nice, and I have a good amount of respect for them. Same thing with the Philippines. Filipinos are even nicer. Um, you know, Filipinos are some of the nicest people in the world, and so this is about foreigners and how foreigners are ruining these countries. The foreign grifters. That's what this is about. And Philippines is a great example because the Philippines has recently endured some of these streamers, these losers. And fortunately, and I think it's fair to say that the vast majority of Westerners are happy to learn that the Filipino police and immigration, they took care of the situation. You got to push pretty hard in the Philippines for them to take action. They deported at least one of these losers who was profiting from basically harassing the locals and humiliating the locals. He was profiting from that. And first and foremost, I don't know about the laws in the Philippines, but I'm assuming they're the same as all these other countries in Asia. And that is, you cannot use the country that you're in as a foreigner to make money. You can't do it unless you have a proper work visa. Now, some countries may make exception if you're kind of temporarily there, but I can tell you this, officially they can go after you. And I don't know if they went after this loser, I don't want to even say his name, for that reason. But the Philippines hopefully will be the role model in Asia. I think Korea has also done it, that they've deported people, they put them in jail. And more of these countries need to do it. Now apparently in Vietnam, they are, supposedly, they've announced they're cracking down on foreigners who are working illegally. Let me just go ahead and say, you've got a kingpin grifting mafia in Da Nang. Kingpin grifters who are working illegally in Da Nang. One of them is this guy. This guy is the worst guy. This Evan fucking Clown. Hold on a second. This sun from the... Whew. I'm going to have to close the curtains. It's too sunny. How's the sound? Sound okay? So this guy, he's a grifter. He's a scammer. This guy is a professional marketer, a professional internet marketer. I can tell he's spent plenty of time in these underground, learning the sales funnel, all this bullshit. Okay? And these guys, what they do, folks, here's what happens. And this thing started, more than 10 years ago, probably about 12 years ago. Mainly, I know the whole story on all this bullshit. It's all connected to the digital nomad swindle, right? Now you've got the travel relocation guys, the Andrew Henderson. You see the whole ecosystem? And even this is indirectly tied into the gold pumpers. You understand? The people, the gold pumpers, they want to tell you that life is terrible in America, in the West. It's great somewhere else, in some fucking shithole. They want to get you there so they can sell you overpriced real estate. I've covered this shit 15 years ago. I know the whole fucking, nobody knows this area better than me. Nobody even comes close. Nobody's even exposed it but me. And this is all related to, by the way, the libertarians, right? Think about it. It's a huge ecosystem of this shit. These travel vloggers, the digital ding-dongs, selling hope and lies. And ultimately, these countries that they're selling, they suffer. I saw Chiang Mai, Thailand, become destroyed from this shit 10 years ago. When you had Johnny FD, that fucking fraudster, and that whole gang. I still know all these fuckers. This Durian Ryder, complete fucking fraudster, felon, loser, with all their bullshit. And this is why YouTube doesn't do anything about this shit. You had all kinds of things happen to people. Allegedly, at least one rape. And you've got YouTube that does nothing about this shit. You have people being drawn to these countries. They're watching videos and they're deciding to pack up, sell everything, and move without even being there. And they're going into situations they're not prepared to handle. And their lives are definitely being impacted adversely. These countries outside of the West are heavily polluted. That's fact. Look it the fuck up. The only exception would be in South America because of the Amazon. You can look up a pollution map right now. Okay? You're dealing with heavy pollution. You're dealing with toxic food. Of course, this varies depending upon where you are. Okay? Vietnam has a toxic food problem. That's a fact. Even the officials have admitted it. And we're talking about the number one cause of cancer in Vietnam is the food. Okay? I could go on and on and on. But you have these guys like this Evan, who doesn't want to tell you his last name. He wants to hide, just like all these fucking scammers. Folks, if you trust anybody, you don't know who they are, you're a goddamn idiot. You're a goddamn idiot. If you're going, and these guys are giving retirement advice, business advice. Wait a second. I'm the financial advisor. I'm the Wall Street big swinging dick. I'm the leading analyst in the world. Maybe the leading analyst in history, according to ChatGPT, extensive audit. And you've got guys like this. Of course, he removed his tattoos from this Photoshop. He's a tattooed fucking clown. Some fucking loser who never really had a job, and I would guess, I can kind of tell, the guy he's done his fair share of fucking pot, of drugs. Okay? One of these fucking degenerates floating around. And this is what happens. They leave the West, the greatest countries in the world for opportunity. The greatest countries that offer the amazing economic opportunities. And because they're lazy and they fail in the West. You know, these are the same people that are bitching and moaning about not being able to afford anything. Well, guess what? Somebody's affording it. And you know who? The people who are working. And they're not complaining. They're not lazy. They're advancing their lives, their careers. But you got a lot of dirtbags out there, a lot of lazy fuckers that just, they give up and they leave the countries with the greatest economic opportunity in the world. These are the same countries that millions and millions of people from the developing world risk their lives every fucking year to get into. Think about that. You know, that's fine if they want to do that, if they want to leave the West, but they don't leave with sufficient funds. And so guess what? They realize after a while of being lazy that they want to stay in these countries because they don't want to work. Okay? They find it cheaper. Of course, they're too ignorant to realize that they're trading price for lower quality and risk. Risk to their health, risk to their life. And you can watch the video I just released, that goes into that. Okay? Talks about all that stuff. The locals are they're acclimatized to a lot of this stuff. They're used to a lot of this stuff. Okay? I mean, the hygiene issues, many of them, that the locals are going to experience don't really affect them. They've got the proper GI flora, right? They're used to this stuff. Now, I'm not going to say all of it because clearly there is a food problem and beverages in these countries. Now, anyway, you got these guys like Evan and some of these others I'm going to talk about. They move to these countries and they realize, well, you know, hey, it's laid back here, but I don't have any job opportunities. Because you see, these countries, depending upon where you're talking about, in Southeast Asia and other developing countries, will generally have a list of jobs, of occupations that are prohibited for foreigners to work in. Okay? It varies by country. Did you all know that? You all didn't know that unless you live in one of these countries. I can guarantee you virtually no people in the West even fucking know this. Okay? So what happens? Well, they can't find a job. Now, of course, they can always teach English, but you got guys like this Evan fucking clown who's too lazy to do it. Because you see, in many of these countries, you don't even need you don't even need legit qualifications. They just want someone who's some white dude or someone who looks white. That's the sad reality in Asia anyway. Because they're just basically babysitters. They're babysitting the kids, and the parents see, oh, it's a white guy. Okay, well, great. We're getting a good English education. That's the unfortunate, sad reality about these ESL teachers in Asia. I can't speak for every country, but I can tell you that's how it is in Thailand, that's how it is in Vietnam, and probably to some extent, at least in some of the other Asian countries. So what do these people do? They become scammers. They sell the dream, right? Just like the digital nomad scam, which I covered many years ago, basically started by Tim Ferriss, the fraud. Tim Ferriss, the fucking scam artist, with his 4-hour shit week, his 4-hour work week book. Complete fraud, complete fiction. A guy, he's the modern day Robert Kiyosaki. Terrible advice, basically tells people to lie. I'm not going to get into the fake reviews he paid for on Amazon to even launch that fucking book in a period when Amazon wasn't even doing anything about fake reviews. And they still don't. I mean, they claim that they do, but the scammers have their ways to work around it. Why do you think so many people launch Kindle books? You see? Because anybody can get a Kindle book with the Prime, right? Fake review, boom, easy. So that whole digital nomad swindle, selling the dream. Yeah, geo arbitrage. There's no fucking geo arbitrage. Find me somebody out there who wants to debate me. Look up who the fuck I am and what the fuck I've done. There's no goddamn geo arbitrage. That's a fucking lie. If you think so, you're a fucking idiot. You are sacrificing, you are trading price for quality, for risk. That's what you're doing. When you are renting out a studio for $300 or $400, you're renting out a little fucking box. Depending upon where the country is, namely in tropical Asia, specifically in Vietnam, there's a good chance you're going to be dealing with mold. And you're not necessarily going to see it or know it's there. And if you don't know about mold, well, just remember what they do, at least in America. If you got black mold in your house, they're going to demolish it. The city is going to, by law, require that it's destroyed. Because mold causes major chronic issues, including potentially liver cancer. So you're in a studio in a little box. Did you live in a box when you were in your country in the West? No, you didn't. You're trading down. When you lived in the West, did you have roosters crowing and dogs barking at 3 a.m. and 4 a.m.? Karaoke all fucking night? No, you didn't, did you? So you're sacrificing. I could go on and on about these trade-offs, these examples. The locals are used to it. That's fine with them. They didn't grow up, they grew up with that. You didn't. You understand? There's no fucking geo arbitrage. That's just like the passive income lie. All these scammers. Folks, don't listen to anybody, number one, who won't tell you who the fuck they are. Because they're hiding. What are they hiding? Do they have a criminal record? What are they hiding? That's number one. That's an obvious. Number two, who the fuck are they? How are they credible? Their judgment. It's about the fucking judgment. What the fuck do they know? Are they intelligent? Are they educated? Do they have experience to enable them to tell you these things? What's their judgment? You're dealing with a bunch of broke-ass, poorly educated failures from the West who are in these countries grifting, selling the dream to all you people in the West who think the grass is greener. And let me tell you, it ain't. I mean, I could talk about this whole topic nonstop for months and months and months. every day. Because I've lived in these countries for many years. I know the deal. So you got this, and this Evan guy, this dirty fucking rat, who doesn't want to tell you his name, he wants to hide. Why is he hiding? Folks, because these people know that they're doing something. It's just like Tom Nash, fake name. They know that they're doing something that could cause them to have legal trouble. Do you understand? Take a look at this. Look at this clickbait shit. And of course, everyone thinks, he tells you to retire in Vietnam. News fucking flash for all you dumbasses out there. Here's an example of how utterly stupid that you are. And if you're this stupid, the best thing you can do for your life is stay the fuck off the internet forever, because you're going to be a prey. You're going to be prey, constant prey for all the scammers. You all do know YouTube is essentially complete scams, right? And disinfo. You all do know that, right? This is what YouTube has come to. Scams and disinfo. That's it. You can't retire in a country that doesn't have a retirement visa. Why would anyone listen to a person who's constantly pitching retire to Vietnam when there's no motherfucking retirement visa? That's reckless, that's fraudulent, and it's actually encouraging. I'm going to be going to the Vietnamese police and immigration in Da Nang next month, specifically to report these motherfuckers. These people are essentially encouraging individuals, foreigners, to break the law by doing visa runs. If you all don't know what a visa run is, I sure as fuck didn't know before I left the U.S. That's where you have to leave the country and renew the visa and come back. Okay? Those are tourist visas. They're not meant to use to stay long term in the country. Can't do it. And supposedly the Vietnamese government, they plan on enforcing that. That's what they've talked about recently. So when you have people like Evan and all these others who tell you, yeah, come live in Vietnam, retire in Vietnam. Oh yeah, there's visa runs, you have people promoting this Lin's visa run. They're basically sending the message that you can live in Vietnam on a tourist visa. Well, guess what? That was going on in Thailand for a while, for years. And guess what? The Thai immigration no longer allows that. And Vietnam is going to stop that at some point. Okay? But these people are encouraging, directly and indirectly, foreigners to break the law. It is illegal to use a tourist visa and visa runs as a way to live in the country. Intent is a large part of a crime, right? If you're intending to do that. Not to mention the fact that, once again, all of these guys, Evan, Travis Travels, Will Travels, they're working illegally in Vietnam. If you are using a country to earn an income, you need a work visa. This is generally the way it is in these countries. Every country is going to have different variations. But in general, if you are, number one, if you are doing a job that a local can do, you need a work visa, and you may not be able to do it at all. You may not get approved. Okay? Number two, you're dealing with prohibited trades, prohibited jobs. These guys are doing events. They're doing kind of tour groups, right? This is prohibited in Vietnam. You can't do this. They have to work for a Vietnamese company. And they can only do this as a secondary position, as a translator. They can't lead the role. I know all this shit. I mean, who do you think you're dealing with here? Who the fuck do you think you're listening to? Some of you know. Don't fuck around. This Evan guy, Travis Travels, Will Travels, they are working illegally in Da Nang. That's fact. And they're doing jobs that are not only is it illegal, they're doing jobs that are prohibited. So they're breaking the law twice. And they're taking jobs away from local Vietnamese who could do these jobs, and some are doing these jobs. They're taking jobs away, and they don't even have a proper work visa. And the amazing thing is, here's how much of scammers these guys are. You know, I did a stream on Tom Nash, and this is very legitimate. I talked about how if you're charging a very high price, it needs to be in proportion to your experience and credentials, capabilities. If it's not, that in and of itself can be considered a scam. That's legal, by the way. Okay? So I point this out because another thing that these foreigners will do is they will target other foreigners. Why? Because they're going to charge those foreigners a foreign rate. Think about that. So you got this Will Travels guy, which we're going to go over here a little bit later, who offers some little meetup service. I'm going to meet you in the airport. I mean, let me explain something. If you need somebody to meet you in a foreign country to show you how to exchange your currency and get a SIM card, you have major problems. You're not going to make it in that country. The goddamn Da Nang airport's they sell SIM cards in the fucking airport. They have currency exchange there. And it's not a whole lot different than what you're going to get in the bank or a money exchanger. But they're going to tell you different. Oh, no, I'm going to save you money. Remember, I'm the Wall Street guy. I'm the world expert. I know what's going on in Da Nang in Vietnam. They're liars. If you're trusting content that's linked to a sales funnel, you're a dumbass. You are a certified retard. And you'd better fucking wake up. Because this world ain't going to get any milder. The sales funnel bullshit, it continues every day. I'm the guy that's exposed the ad-based content model. The only person in the world to do so. I explained that, how it all worked in the financial system. If you're trusting someone with their content linked to a sales funnel, you're a dipshit. That's why I say anyone who monetizes their content, don't trust them. It's bullshit. It's fiction. Look at this clickbait. This is a guy who tells you that you know, these guys tell you basically Da Nang, Vietnam is a cheap paradise, right? Oh, look, how to retire. He also has he's got a retirement plan. Some fucking broke dick, poorly educated loser who couldn't get a decent job in the West, is going to give you retirement advice. Excuse me, I take offense at that as a former Wall Street financial advisor and a current advisor to hedge funds and one of the best analysts in modern history, confirmed by my track record. I take offense at that. You dirty fucking rat scammer. But here you can see, so they paint this picture. Oh, it's cheap. I can live like a king. You see this house in this picture here? Let me show you here. I know a lot about the real estate in these countries. A lot. How much? Well, he's telling you can buy a home for $100,000. You know how much this house would cost in Vietnam? Let's say Da Nang. I can tell you right now, facts, this will cost no less than $1 million. No less than $1 million. That's fact. Now, for those of you who don't know what's going on, you may be shocked to hear this, but Vietnam has one of the least affordable real estate markets in the world. Saigon, in particular, is probably in the top 3 least affordable real estate markets in the world. That's right. In fact, the newest building they're building now is the condos are going for, I think it's $40,000 a square meter. I thought it was 80, but I want to say 80, but I'll go with 40. Think about that, 40,000. So most of you can probably afford, maybe if you get a bank loan, you might be able to afford to buy 8 or 9, maybe 10 square meter doghouse. Okay, I'm not joking. Okay, I'm not kidding. So I know the property prices. I'm not going to even get into what's going on. It's insane. But I would say, I said minimum $1 million. Probably a home like this I would say, more accurately would be about $2 to $3 million. Ask yourself what you can get in America for $2 to $3 million. You can get a fucking mansion like you can't even believe. Okay. So, I could show you examples. And this is conservative pricing. Okay, if this is in a pretty good area, it's going to go for $10 or $20 million. I'm telling you that right now. So 1 million is like not even a good area. It's going to be in the middle of nowhere. See, because the land is extremely expensive. Now these fuckers out there who've blocked me, like Evan and Travis, and I haven't left many comments on this Will's guy's channel, but you block me, I'm coming after you. You are misleading people, deceiving people, and you're not allowing a fair discourse because you're trying to scam people with fake fucking news, disinformation. You see? So, I'm going to go to the authorities. I'm going to go to the authorities. That's right. We're going to investigate what's going on. You see that? Because you want to mislead people. You want to scam people. You want to put people in harm's way so you can make money. Look at this. You can't buy fucking shit for $100,000 in Vietnam. Okay? I can tell you. If you don't believe me, I can show you videos you can't even believe. I saw this 200 square meter house just the other day. 200 square meters. If you all don't know, you're in the West, 200, you're used to square feet. 200 square meters is about, probably I would say, 2150 square feet. 2,150 square feet. So it's a tad more at a zero. 2,100 square feet is not real big. Okay? It was going for $3 million. I kid you not. The same, it's another example. A Starbucks. There's a Starbucks used to be over there by the Notre Dame Cathedral in Saigon, about 150 meters away. It was a 100 square meter plot of land. 100 square meters, so basically 1,000 square feet. That's selling for about $13 million. $13 million. Starbucks was paying 50 grand a month rent. That's why they had to fucking leave. Okay? People have no fucking idea the pricing in these countries, especially in Vietnam. It's insane. Okay? So you have these guys. Let me get back to what I was going to mention about what they charge. They're charging foreigner rates. So you've got this guy, Will Travels. We're going to go over him a little bit here shortly. Will Travels. He's got this service I talked about earlier. And he's gonna meet you at the airport, show you how to get a SIM card, show you how to exchange your currency. $250. That's what he charges. 250. Are you kidding me? Folks, these people would be working minimum wage in America. Yet they're making off some little stupid rinky-dink bullshit, some social activity. This guy is making what the typical wage is in Da Nang for a month. He's making a typical monthly wage in Da Nang by meeting someone at the airport and chatting it up and showing him how to get a SIM card and exchange your currency. That's a fucking scam in and of itself. Okay? They're working illegally and they're lying about the countries. Not just Vietnam. They've been doing this shit about Thailand forever. That's why I posted that video showing you. Take a look at that video if you haven't already. You can see Da Nang, the real Da Nang. And you'll notice, he's got all these thumbnails. Look at the girl. Oh, look, she's waiting for me. I've got to go there. I mean, you think this is coincidence? Oh, I'm going to retire. Look at the girls. Oh. Let me explain something, folks. Da Nang is one of the most boring cities I've ever been to in Asia. In terms of, if you compare it, you adjust for the size, right? So in other words, if it were a small little city, okay, it's boring. It's got over 1 million people. There's literally nothing to do, and I'm talking about if you're a foreigner. There's literally nothing to do. Now, it's changed over the past couple of years because now they have this small little street with a bunch of bars for foreigners. So what? There's nothing to do. There's not even a mall anywhere near the area. You've got to go way out. You got to drive way out. There's a small, old, shitty mall across the river, and that's it. It's shit. There's not even a nice mall. I mean, not that that's anything to do, but I mean, Jesus, you got to have something. There's literally nothing to do in Vietnam. In Da Nang. Okay, go to the beach, fine. The beach is nice. Look, the government of Vietnam, they do a great job with the public areas. A better job than you're going to see in many Western countries. That's one thing I'll give to them. They do a great job. That's why the boardwalk in Da Nang is great. They keep the beach up nice. And it's not just Da Nang. They do this in all these cities. It's wonderful. The landscaping is amazing. And that's fine. Okay, you want to go to the beach, hang out for 3 days. It's not long-term living. There's nothing besides that. There's nothing after that. It's nothing. Zero. So you can see how right here, just this clickbait, this image, he's got, oh, look at the girls. Oh, wow. I mean, you can meet girls on the beach. Wow. Ho, ho, ho. Now, you're not going to see this. I don't want to film people, but let me tell you right now what's happened. Every time I go to Da Nang, it gets worse and worse. The people. Literally, it's a tattooed, degenerate fucking city in terms of the foreigners now. All you see are fucking degenerate losers tatted up from neck to ankle. It's bizarre. Even old fuckers. I've even seen in their 70s tatted up like fucking losers. It's the biggest degenerate explosion I've ever seen. Da Nang, Vietnam right now is the biggest collection of degenerates I have ever seen. And I'm not exaggerating. Not at all. So they paint this picture. You can't retire in Vietnam if you're a foreigner. Okay? Unless you are a Viet Q, unless you have, a Vietnamese background. You cannot retire. There's no retirement visa. There's not even a long-term visa. It doesn't exist. So why would you be promoting retirement? This guy's a fraud. He's the most egregious of all these guys. This is why I've got him on here, and I'm hammering him first. He is the biggest problem. And, the problem is that as well, these guys target people from the West who are depressed, who are low income, and they think that their lives are going to change when they move to another country where maybe they're paying less for things, but they don't understand, and many of them will never know because they're so ignorant and poorly educated, that they're trading. It's a trade-off for health issues and lower quality. They don't even realize. When you're talking, folks, you're talking about some really poorly educated people. Just go on ScamTube, take a look at these videos and read the comments and look at the interviews. You've got people who are emotionally disturbed, from what I can tell. I won't even mention any names, but let me just scroll through here. There you go, right here. I mean, you can just watch this interview yourself, and I can tell this guy's got some issues, which I'm not faulting him for. But what I'm saying is that these are what you're seeing that are going to these countries. People thinking that they can survive on Social Security, they can live off $1,000 a month. You can't fucking do that. What are you talking about? When I'm in Vietnam, I spend $5,000 to $10,000 a month. What are you talking about? Because you know why? Because I don't eat street food in Vietnam. Because I don't want to die prematurely of GI cancer. Now, if you want to eat street food in Vietnam, you haven't seen the rats. Do you all know how bad they're? I never saw rats this size until I went to Vietnam. They're the size of large fucking squirrels and rabbits. They're fucking huge, and they're all over the place. They're everywhere. It's like a weird movie. They are everywhere. Okay? No one talks about how locals readily urinate out in the open on the sidewalks. Have you ever heard anyone talk about that? If you've been to Vietnam, maybe you may not know this, but you know, if you've been there long enough, you'll see people peeing in the fucking streets. If you smell some smell that smells like urine, it's because you're walking where the Grab drivers, they urinate. Folks, I'm telling you the truth. This is fact. So imagine you've got street food, and the carts are typically on the street, on the sidewalk. And they close down the cart at night, and the rats go up into the cart. I see it all the time. I mean, you want to eat street food? Good fucking luck. Good luck. Not to mention the urine smell, all this stuff. The locals are used to it. They're used to it. Right? The foreigners don't even realize it, what's going on. Because you're not going to expect this stuff to happen unless you see it firsthand. I didn't expect the coffee and the tea to be, and I'm not saying it all is, because you know it's not. The problem is you can't tell. It's very difficult to tell what is okay and what's not. I didn't even know that it was possible that your coffee that you drink, you know, Vietnam is known for its coffee. It's coffee culture, all coffee, coffee. I didn't realize that it could have chemicals in it. I'll tell you a little story. Several years ago, I met this guy in Saigon, and he was telling me how he had this business with a Vietnamese local, and he's from Belgium, and hung out a little bit, and it turns out, you know, they were a big coffee supplier. They were supplying the entire airport with all the vendors, and so he knew coffee. You know, they went up to the highlands and selected out, you know, good quality coffee and made sure it was, you know, organic and so on and so forth. And so we went to this place. I took him to this coffee place and ordered coffee. And he drank it. And I remember drinking it, and I was like, this is kind of, it's a little bit, it's kind of a, I don't know, some type of a taste. It's nothing big. It's kind of a subtle, you know, you don't really think much of it. You just kind of, And he said, oh, this has got chemicals in it. This has got, you know. I was like, does it really? He's like, oh, yeah, I know. And then from that point on, I've been very sensitive. I can easily tell now if there's some just mildly weird taste. It's chemical. And from my experience, I won't even drink tea in Vietnam. The cold tea places, almost all of them are chemicals. I was even in a place, an upscale place, in Saigon one time, and this proves that you can't pay higher prices and be shielded. It's random. I was at this place, a very nice place, and I ordered tea. It was a kind of a was getting a pastry and tea, it's a kind of a coffee light meal place. And I drank the tea, and I was like, this has got chemicals. And I told the manager, it's a newer place, and she goes, oh no, there's no way, because we get our tea from Singapore. I said, so? I said, who do you think is running Singapore? It's Chinese. I mean, the chemicals come from China, right? So of course, there's this notion in Asia, especially Southeast Asia, they look up to these higher income countries. They think that everything is great. They don't realize, for instance, Singapore is a fucking I can't even say the word. Authoritarianism government, right? It's very authoritarianism there. People don't realize, oh, Singapore is free and it's no. No. These countries in Asia, especially Southeast Asia, but for the most part in Asia, they're pretty much the same in terms of how they're run. Vietnam is, well, they're going to call themselves Socialist Republic. That's kind of a code word for communism, which is fine. My point is that, do you really think that Thailand is much different than Vietnam? I can tell you Thailand is probably worse. I see Thailand as a complete police state. But it's not known as that, right? Take a look at the other countries, right? I mean, you look at Japan. Japan is going to be on the upper echelon, right? They're going to have more freedom, more of a democratic country. But let me tell you something, folks. It's not. You can see things there that are very much controlled. Go to the airport in Japan. You're going to see armed guards walking all around. It's fucking weird. Okay, so people don't know all this stuff, and you get in trouble in these countries. There's no rule of law. There's no rule of law. And if you're in Thailand, oh, you're fucked. Because you're the foreigner, especially if you're involved with a Thai. You have no chance. Okay? There's no rule of law, and people just don't know what they're dealing with. But let's go ahead now. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you now some more specific stuff. I mean, I could talk all day on the problems that foreigners are not aware of going to these countries because they've been sold a bill of goods. Here's the video you need to watch. Okay? And I've even put clips. You can see. I'll turn down the, well, this is Da Nang.
Late at night, walk through those same areas. You will see rats moving through food stalls. You will see open kitchens exposed to the environment. You will see food sitting out. That is not rare. That is normal. And that bowl of pho you just downed, where do you think the water came from? If you think they are using bottled or properly filtered water in most cheap food operations, you are living in a fantasy. In many cases, the
So that's one thing you never hear. These people, oh yeah, going to eat some noodles. What do you think? How do you think they're making those noodles? You can't drink the water in most of these countries. Do you really think that they're using bottled water or properly filtered water to make the noodles? Do you think they're using properly filtered water or bottled water to make the ice? I mean, people don't even get it, man. I'm telling you right now. So you can't even walk the streets. You can't. I mean, you can walk the streets. That's what you have to do. You cannot walk on the sidewalks in Vietnam. They're not walkable because of the construction. Let me explain something. What I have learned in Asia, especially Southeast Asia, primarily, I would say, and it varies depending upon the country, of course. Thailand is getting much better, by the way. I can say this with confidence. In Vietnam, there appears to be zero respect for life. And there is absolutely zero respect for pedestrians. You don't exist as a pedestrian. They don't even know the concept. You don't exist if you're a pedestrian in Vietnam. You will literally be run over in the middle of the street if you don't get out of the way. And let me tell you what I was told. First time I was ever in Vietnam, and I heard this at least 2 or 3 times by other people after that. I was told, if you ever get hit by a car, this is in Vietnam, if you ever get hit by a car, make sure and get up and get out of the road fast. And I said, what are you saying? Like, what do you mean? They said, because if you get hit by a car, they're probably going to try and kill you. They're going to come over and run you over again and kill you. I said, why? What are you talking about? They said, because it's much easier that way. They won't have to face like a financial settlement. It's much better. This is the norm. This is what I was told by several Vietnamese people. Okay? And I can guarantee you the Vietnamese will verify. How come you don't hear this? It's a very serious issue when you're talking about the terrible public safety. You can easily get hit by a car, especially in Da Nang, where they have the beach road, which they don't even have crosswalks that are legitimate crosswalks. Okay? They don't have legitimate crosswalks. You have to walk in the middle of the highway. It's a highway. The beach road's a highway, by the way. The road goes all the way down to Hoi An and all the way up to Hue, or not to Hue, but down to Hoi An for sure. So it's very dangerous. It's always been dangerous. So imagine if you were going to retire in Vietnam, or any other Southeast Asian country for that matter. That means you're probably going to be a little older. And this addresses, general ignorance of the population that don't understand this. Do you understand what happens when you're older? A very typical thing. You break your hip. You've heard that, right? You break your hip. Now imagine walking on roads, sidewalks in Vietnam, where you've got broken sidewalks, you've got construction materials everywhere, you've got all that shit. You're going to have a high chance of falling and breaking your hip. Anybody know what happens when you break your hip if you're older, say over 65? Anybody know, by the way? Well, you can look this up in Harrison's Internal Medicine. Harrison's Book of Internal Medicine. Okay, you can see it. Or you can look in some type of pathology book. You got a very high chance of death. Did you know that? Once you're above a certain age, I can't recall what it is, I haven't looked at the stats, but I would say, I think there's maybe 75% chance if you break your hip, don't quote me on the exact stats, but I know it's over 50%, you're not leaving the hospital except in a body bag if you break your hip over a certain age, like 65 or 70. Anybody know why? I've talked about this many times. Because of hospital-acquired infections. That's how the majority of elderly people die in hospitals. That's why I tell people, look, if you're in the hospital for something serious and you're older, get the fuck out of there after a few days. If they haven't fixed you in a few days, they ain't going to do it. You're increasing your chance of dying from a hospital-acquired infection. These hospitals are breeding grounds for pathogens. You may have heard that a large percentage of elderly people die from pneumonia. You've heard that, right? How do you think they got the fucking pneumonia? In the hospital. So I'm saying this why? If you're in an environment like Vietnam that's not walkable, Vietnam is the least walkable country I've ever been to. Now, granted, I've never been to India. India, I would say, probably beats Vietnam. Okay, which is one reason why I'm probably not going to go to India. Vietnam is definitely the least walkable country in Southeast Asia. It's not a walkable country at all. You might think so if you're in a place like, say, Saigon. Say, wow, look at these big wide sidewalks. Yeah, well, the sidewalks are wide because it's not meant for pedestrians. It's meant for motorbikes and even cars. I have literally been almost run down by motorbikes and cars, even cars, walking on the sidewalk. I kid you not. So imagine if you are elderly and you fall. I've twisted my ankle in Vietnam, and it took over a year to recover because of the loose tiles in the sidewalk. You don't see it. It's fucking easy to do. Imagine you break your hip and you're older. Chances are you're probably not going to live. People don't understand this. They don't realize this. Now, crime is low, especially in Vietnam. Violent crime is low. That's a great thing. You know why it's low? Because the government's smart enough to ban fucking guns. For all you gun fanatics out there, especially in America, you're fucking stupid. Banning guns is the way to go. And you see that in Vietnam. It's a very safe country. They don't have guns, essentially, right? But, folks, crime is not the only determinant of your of morbidity and mortality. Public safety, environmental hazards, that's huge. When you're talking about public safety and environmental hazards, countries in Southeast Asia get a fucking F. So in a way, it's kind of a false sense of security because you think it's safe. But that pollution, PM 2.5, is going to get you. Okay? PM 2.5, we're talking about particulate matter. It's not just, it's not just paper being burnt in the air. You're talking about heavy metal particles in the air. They burn that shit. PM 2.5 is small enough to reach your bloodstream through the lungs, through the alveoli and the capillaries, and to reach your bloodstream and cause potentially a stroke or a heart attack. This is all fact. You can look this the fuck up. You gonna hear this? No, it doesn't sell. What sells on ScamTube is good vibes. It's great. It's cheap. It's paradise. It's great. And this, of course, most people who watch ScamTube, they're emotionally and or mentally disparaged. They have issues and they're looking for an escape. Just like the same people who, they watch the fake investment gurus. They're broke and they're looking for an easy way out. This is why YouTube should be fucking shut down. All these social media and YouTube should be shut down. They're criminal operations. Abso-fucking-lutely. And people who are content creators on these platforms who are monetizing, as far as I'm concerned, they're fucking criminals. They're partners in crime with these tech giant companies that are causing massive harm to society. From Scambook to ScamTube. And I can't even say what I really think, what the real name is. And you know what it starts with. You know what it sounds like. Because you know who runs it. The same criminal mafia that runs the banks. Okay? I challenge anybody in the fucking world. Anybody in the world. Okay? Who has a dog in the fight, as our friend Mel Gibson would say. That is to say, any of you content creators, these travel vloggers pushing your scams, let's fucking go. You get an opportunity to talk to one of the best investment analysts in history. Let's go. Live, neutral platform. Let's go. You want to debate me? Of course you're not going to do that. Nobody wants to stand up to me because they know the truth doesn't sell. The truth hurts them. They don't rely on the truth. They rely on a controlled environment. Whether it's Peter Schiff and Robert Kiyosaki and all these other charlatans, right? Or the little YouTube grifters. Everybody, all these guys pitching their bullshit, they rely on a controlled environment. They will not allow critical pushback, right? So this is why you don't get in debates. You get, in YouTube, the scam portal has been created to allow the channel owners to ban people, to delete comments, so that a newbie comes and watches the video and reads the comments. Oh, wow, everyone thinks he's great. It's great. Oh, everyone thinks he's making money with them. They don't consider that there could be fake comments. It's all doctored. That's fraud. YouTube is specifically, intentionally designed its platform to facilitate scams. Fact. And we're seeing this now in real time with Evan, who blocks people, including me, and Travis Travels, because they don't want people to be exposed to the truth. I mean, why do you fear the fucking truth? Why? Why do you fear the truth? Because you're a fucking scammer. So here you go. He's got his live abroad, retire early, earn online. He wants to teach you how to be a fucking online scammer. They're going to do the same thing. Folks, do you understand how it works? One guy starts pitching the dream, just like the digital nomads, and then they recruit more people to come. It's kind of like the Tim Sykes, the fake trader, the scammer, with his little fake $1 million traders. That's an affiliate program. They're all fucking scammers. They're all liars. I mean, that's a fact. You can write it down. Tell them all I said so. Grittani and Stephen Dux and all these guys, they're all lying frauds. Tell them. I mean, they can sue me. I call them a fraud. They won't do it because they know they're frauds. Every single trader out there pitching their little courses and shit is a fraud. Every single one. Let me tell you something, and you'll never hear anybody that want to come up to me and debate me on that, because I'm the big swinging dick. I'm the guy that's made the best asymmetric fucking trade in history, and you could have made it too if I weren't banned. 200-fold. I just did a recent Grok analysis, more in depth. 200-fold you could have made. Who's the best guy out there? Well, you got these options traders. I'm the best options trader out there. A 200-fold bet in the financial crisis. 200-fold. Boom. Boom, motherfucking boom. I can show you guys later if you want to see.
The risk is embedded in the food system. Then add in the structural issues: poor storage, high humidity, inconsistent hygiene, questionable refrigeration, low-grade ingredients.
Let's see what we got here. So we'll jump to Travis Travels Vietnam. Okay. We'll get to that now. We'll go back to Evan. So this is the guy that caused me to jump on this stream right now because he fucking deleted my comments. And you're going to see what the comments are because, of course, the shadow ban, right? We'll take a look here. Take a look. And so, by the way, so he has this stupid video where this guy is a complete fucking con artist, man. Why? Because what these guys will do is once there are people on ScamTube or elsewhere that is starting to uncover the reality. For instance, Vietnam's constant construction. They'll flip it around, you see? They'll flip it around to make it acceptable. They'll only bring it up for damage control. You all understand? It's damage control. Now, I want you to listen to what this fucking con man idiot says. And he's got a cult. All these guys with accounts have cults. A bunch of fucking delusional idiots. He's one of these guys. He sounds like a nice guy. Nice folks. The guys that sound nice are the biggest con artists out there. I hope you all know that, right? They're trying to win people over because they want to fucking swindle your ass. Let's listen to what he says. A little opening statement here. Okay.
I just spent the morning doing manual labor building a house in Vietnam. This has been the situation right in front of my house for the past 2 months now. Construction noise, banging every single day. But when you live in the fastest developing city in the fastest developing country on earth, it kind of comes with the territory.
So you hear that? So he's telling you, well, it's the fastest, wow, it's exciting, it's fastest. No, it's not the fastest developing city in Vietnam, number one. And number two, Vietnam's not the fastest developing country on earth. I might know, as arguably the leading applied economic analyst in modern history, based upon my track record. I might know. It's not. Okay? So you understand. It may sound trivial, but he's hyping that fact so you will accept the ridiculous construction. Let me explain something. Da Nang has had construction ongoing for years. It is not because they're so fast growing. It's because of the lack of adequate zoning. It's because of the lack of public safety. And it's because of the nature of much of the construction. So it's always going to go on, just like it does in Saigon. And so what I mean by that is that you've seen some of the video footage I showed you from the video I made. They just put shit all over the place, on the sidewalks, even on the streets. So it's not a controlled construction. It's very dangerous. You understand? It's not, if you're in the West, you're going to have proper zoning, proper permits. You can't do this, you can't do that. It's done for the safety of the public. And by the way, you know, I mentioned earlier, let me just mention this. I mentioned earlier about the libertarians, how they're tied into the ecosystem, this escape the West ecosystem, right? Because they're pitching their scams all over the world, in these countries. But remember, the libertarians, this is why it's related. The libertarian guys are telling you, get the government out of the way. The government's got too much regulation. And most Americans are fooled by this because they're fucking stupid. They're fooled by this swindling narrative. Guess what? The government has regulations for good reason. If you don't know why, if you don't understand why, come to Asia, come to Southeast Asia and see how fucking dangerous it is merely trying to walk in your own neighborhood when you've got construction shit going on all over the place. You can't even walk on the sidewalks. You have to put your life in danger because you're walking on busy roads. You see, there's a reason why you have regulations. You don't have consumer protections in Southeast Asia in general. You certainly don't have them in Vietnam. Consumers are not protected. Workers are not protected. Remember, these are countries where they don't really have, you know, strictly enforced child labor law. So next time some of you fucking idiots from the West think the government's in your way and you're a libertarian, you need to wake the fuck up. There's a purpose for that. Okay? Now, let's take a look. So you heard what he tried to do. He tried to basically explain away the crazy construction. And it's nonstop. I'm telling you right now. They're going to start at 6, 6:30, if you're lucky, 7 a.m. Okay? There's virtually nowhere you can stay in Da Nang for more than a few days where you're not going to get construction. I'll tell you, the last place I was at in Da Nang, okay, about a month ago, I kid you not, literally right next to the hotel, there was another building being built, okay? And About 3 days after that, another one was being built on the other side. By the time we left, there was another one starting across the street. See, what happens in nature of construction, what I'm talking about is that you're dealing with these houses that are very narrow and tall. So, and they're called hotels. They're not really hotels. They're basically, you know, good-sized buildings that have maybe 30 rooms, right? And so they're privately owned. And in Asia, generally speaking, people don't have a problem demolishing a building. It's the land that's generally the most valuable. So they do this very, very often. It's not like in America where you build a house or a building and it's built to last. Things aren't built to last in Asia, folks. Nothing's built to last in Asia. I'm telling you that right now, and generally speaking. This is why you have a place in Asia, typically, if it's 10 years old, it looks 50 years old. Okay? This is one reason why you have a lot of construction ongoing in Vietnam especially, is because people don't hesitate to tear down a building if they just bought the place, the land, and they want to make a new place. It happens all the time. You don't have as many permanent structures in Vietnam. That's fact. That's why the construction, it has less to do with the growth rate of Da Nang and more to do with the society, the economics, and the culture of the country. Okay? So, take a look here. Take a look. So you're not going to see these comments. You only see them now because I'm logged into my account. I've already released a video exposing these grifters while stating the facts about Da Nang. Remember, these guys are pumping out inaccurate content linked to sales funnels. If you want accurate analysis about anything, ask a professional analyst, not clowns on YouTube with sales funnels. I'm a professional analyst, and I know Da Nang better than any of these grifters. Since they have been pumping out fake content, Da Nang has become a total disaster with degenerate, tattooed, weirdo foreigners everywhere, and prices that are 50 to 100% higher than the past 2 years. That's fact. That's fact. So what's funny is that the same grifters who are pushing Da Nang through their sales funnels, buy my course, get my membership, you can retire here, I'm going to show you this, meet me at the airport, pay me $250 and I'll show you how to get a SIM card. The same people pushing this dream of cheap paradise are the same ones responsible for causing massive inflation in Da Nang. And I predicted this actually a couple of years ago. I said, look, Da Nang's going to get priced out. See, unlike a place like Thailand, Da Nang will not persist once the prices go up excessively, and they're on their way there, because there's nothing in Da Nang. Thailand, there's things to do. There's a lot of things, a lot of cultural activities, a lot of things that Thais do. There's many things, and it's very westernized, so there's many things for foreigners to do there to feel comfortable. In addition to, it's very quiet generally in Thailand. They don't honk their horn, okay? They don't have all this construction noise. Vietnam is a very noisy country in general. So it's not a place for long-term, generally for long-term expats. So when the prices go up, there's going to be less of a reason for most people to stay there. And this is what you're going to have, I'll guarantee you're going to see it. I'll guarantee you. Remember, who's the #1 real estate expert in the world? Probably the guy who most accurately predicted the financial crisis, which was, begun through the real estate, and also the only person who accurately predicted the collapse amount in real estate. So I probably know, because I know the economy in Vietnam. This is what's going to happen. This is exactly what's going to happen. And you think, I own fucking condos in Da Nang. You'd think I'd be pumping it up. No, because I'm not a dirtbag. I'm concerned for the public. I don't want people to make the wrong life decisions because they were swindled by some scammers. My rental prices have gone up 50%. You'd think I'd love that. But I'm not a money guy. I'm a person guy. I'm a human guy. You see? So you can read all this. You should read these comments because they're informative. You can understand the psychology of these people. So here's a Vietnamese person. I really appreciate this video you posted because I'm tired of people complaining about construction. See that? Typical Vietnamese loyal person, you can't say anything. Vietnam is the fastest growing economy in Southeast Asia. Okay, fastest growing in Southeast Asia. Okay, Southeast Asia, yeah, of course. How about when it wasn't the fastest growing? The construction was still there. Okay? You see how, but for you to give a different perspective on it from a construction worker's point of view, see, like I said, he's shifting the gears. He's trying to change the discourse, this Travis guy, because his whole sales funnel depends on all this positive bullshit. Okay? See this? You see? All the, oh, you're great, man. Oh, you're great. Oh, yeah. You see? Yeah, you're so good at keeping perspective. Oh, really? When did he tell you about the rats all over the fucking place, going up into the food stalls in the kitchens? Did he tell you about that? Did he talk about the pollution? Did he talk about all these risks that I mentioned? The only time he's going to talk about something that's risky or that's a potential hazard is when it's linked to a sales funnel. The YouTube scammers are all the same, folks. They're all the same. Let's take a look now. Look at this fucking clown. Working illegally. You're working illegally, dude. You don't have a work visa. You're not permitted to do this. This type of work is not permitted. This is work for a Vietnamese. What are you doing? Now, of course, anybody that's on Skool, S-K-O-O-L, you should assume by default, until proven otherwise, they're a scammer. Skool is a scam platform for scammers selling courses and shit. Scam courses, right? Well, guess what? He's on Skool. The Da Nang Social Club, okay. Now, you know, as I talked about with Steve Keen's on Skool. Scammer. You're a scammer, Steve. You're a scammer, dude. I don't know if you guys know, you saw the video, but Steve Keen, Professor Keen, the rogue economist, who's apparently broke as fuck, so he's trying to scam people by telling them if they pay him $10,000 a year, he will teach them how to predict the future. Like he did. And he didn't even predict the financial crisis, although he claims he did. Fucking bullshit. You see, folks, you can't dispute the truth. The only thing you can do is ignore it and run away from it. That's why nobody wants to confront me. Nobody wants to fucking challenge me. And I'm talking about people who I have called out. They're going to ignore it. You see, that's what they do. So take a look. So he doesn't have 535 paid members. Most of them are free, guaranteed, but this is kind of the way this school, they set it up. It's kind of, Patreon does the same thing, where you can have people sign up for Patreon, and the total Patrons, it doesn't show how much they're paying. It's a confirmation scam. Oh, well, they have this many people paying. I'm going to pay. It's confirmation. It means it's good. Typical online fucking scam. So let's listen to this, okay?
If you're coming to Da Nang, you're in the right place. I started a community here to make it easier for you to meet people and get settled in as quickly as possible.
Oh, okay. You started a community. Okay, that's cool. A community, right? Well, wait a second. Why are you charging money? Right? I mean, a community, it sounds good, right? It's a community. It's kind of like the psychology behind, what is it? The sharing economy, right? Sharing economy, right? A community. Oh, that sounds great. No, a community, it's not paid. You're running a fucking business. You're running a sales funnel based on false information. You are working in Vietnam illegally. You don't have a work visa. You are a fucking scam artist, dude. Stop it. Stop it.
when you first arrive. Everything I've learned from 6 years living in Vietnam.
I know a lot more than you, a lot more. For those of you out there who want to know about Vietnam, Da Nang, I'll tell you for free. You got your questions? Ask me right here. I'll tell you, I know a lot more about Vietnam in all aspects than this fucking clown or any of these other motherfuckers. You know why? Because I've been in Vietnam a long time, for many, many times. I own property in Vietnam. I've got bank accounts in Vietnam, and I'm a world-class analyst. So I've got good judgment. I can analyze things. Okay? Now, if you need me to tell you, to help you find your first doctor, like Evan, he'll show you how to find a doctor in Vietnam. But if you need stuff like that, let me just tell you, let me give you the best advice. Go and check yourself into some mental ward, because you're going to need help. If you need somebody to show you how to get a SIM card, to show you how to exchange currency, you really, really should not be outside of your country. You're not going to survive. If you don't have enough initiative to do the simplest things like that, you are really your own worst enemy. And of course, this is what YouTube has. It has emotionally and mentally distraught individuals. It's got a bunch of essentially dumbass losers. That's who these people target. Folks, that's who all the grifters target on YouTube. Why do you think YouTube's filled with scammers? Because they know the audience. The audience is the dumbest fuckers on the face of the earth. Tai Lopez proved that. And whenever all these scammers saw Tai Lopez make it, they realized, well, shit, if this guy can make it, anybody can. Because the audience is a bunch of dumbasses.
I've put inside this group. And I'm really proud of how it's turned out. Everybody seems to be enjoying it and getting a lot of value out of it. So whether you need help finding an apartment or renting a motorbike or
You need help renting a motorbike? Just walk down the street. You need help renting an apartment? All you do is go up to any building you see that you might want to rent, or contact a real estate agent. I mean, what? I mean, what a fucking grifter, man. See, folks, this is what happens when you get desperate. You move to the country and you marry a local like he did, so he's stuck. What's he going to do? Of course, she wants to go back to America with him. He ain't going to take her. What's he going to do in America? Right? What's he going to do? How are you going to get a job? I don't think so. So, I mean, remember, folks, once you've been out of the labor force, at least in America, for more than, let's say, a couple of years, you're fucking done. You're not employable anymore. You know that. Well, I mean, you got to start at the bottom. Once you're out of the labor force in America, with rare exception, if you have exceptional, you're at the top of your field, which nobody on YouTube is going to be, except for scamming. Once you're out of the labor pool for 2 years or more, you're finished. If you want to go back to America and get in the labor pool, you're going to have to go in a minimum wage job. That's fact. Okay? So he knows he's fucked. He can't go back to America now. So, and he thinks he's got a gravy train now, bringing people into Da Nang. So I want to know what's going to happen when once the prices are just too excessive in Da Nang, where the gravy train doesn't work anymore. Is he going to move? He'll probably move to another city in Vietnam. You see, that's what he'll probably do, and work that one. You see, but let me talk about the pricing. By the way, I've already seen there's a lot what's going on in Da Nang. You've got, and you can't blame the Vietnamese. They're stupid foreigners take advantage of it. I've seen on ScanTube foreigners renting units that are basically worth about $350, $400, and they're paying $500, $600, $700, even $800. Okay, they're paying that, and as I said, I personally have experienced. I'm a landlord, and rates have gone up. Let's see. I mean, they go up every time the lease is up. They go up. Okay, there's huge demand, especially for the properties I have, which are on the beach. There's almost nothing available on the beach. It's all hotels, essentially, with a rare exception. So, you know, why am I complaining? Because I'm concerned about people. That's who I am. That's who I was from day one when I tried to warn people about the financial crisis, to empower them, and I got fucking shut out. That's why I got shut out. You know, I'm the guy that gets all the rocks thrown at him. Meanwhile, I'm the guy that's trying to help Main Street. It's a consistent theme with me all throughout my whole life. Because if you want to fool people, you address them in a certain way. You understand? The con artists are the ones that have the people who will take a bullet for them, even though they're fucking them. You understand? Just go down the list, and you can count. It's countless examples of this. Whether it's Alex Jones or Joe Rogan, right? Tucker Carlson, the biggest con artists out there, the people that are actually, they're not on the side of the people. They've got the people backing them. You see? Same thing with all these YouTube guys. Notice they're all like they're mild mannered, smooth talking, right? Yeah. And it's funny because you got one guy, what did he say? Let me see here. Something about oh yeah. This is a great one. I really appreciate this video you posted because I'm tired of people complaining about construction. Oh no, this is not it. It's not it, but let me see what this is here. Yeah. See this comment, there's no reply because it's deleted. You see. Thank you for your interest. To give you perspective of us Vietnamese people, to the young, to the old, most of us can genuinely feel how it did it. Okay. I don't know what he's talking. But you see how the Vietnamese, Philippines is notorious for this, okay? The Philippines is notorious. Anytime some foreigner goes there and blogs, makes content in the Philippines, all the Filipinos love it. They just love it, right? So this is why a lot of these fucking travel bloggers, they go to the Philippines and they know they can get a lot of views. See? So this is what I was talking about when I began, about the locals in these countries, the developing countries. You know, they love it when foreigners they'll promote their country. You see, and they'll get pissed off if you criticize things. You see. Here you go. Look at this. So this is gone too. This is a comment that's been deleted. He's blocked me from the channel. So Da Nang is not the fastest growing, is not the fastest developing city in Vietnam. Haiphong, Saigon, Hanoi, Dong Nai, and Bac Ninh are developing faster. Okay. And by the way, only Saigon and Hanoi are larger than Da Nang. These other cities are smaller, yet they're faster growing. So you've got Saigon, which is obviously much larger, Hanoi. So I'm just saying this because he wants to put a slant on there, like, oh, it's the fastest growing city in Vietnam, the fastest growing country in the world. No, it's not. He wants you to accept this bullshit. This is the type of sneaky shit these guys do. You see? And I explain that here. He's hoping you'll excuse the constant construction noise and construction havoc, which forces people to walk in busy streets, endangering their lives. He's been pumping out cheap paradise disinfo about Da Nang, so bogus memberships, claiming he can save you money. Total grifter. He's also working illegally along with the other Da Nang grifters, Evan and Will. Where are the haters coming from? Oh, you're a hater. Oh, hater? What's a hater? Hater means you're telling the truth. You see? Uncle Travis. You should make your own short film of Vietnam. Yeah, yeah, uh-huh. So here you go. This was probably my main issue with Da Nang. It's a lovely city, but you're always inhaling construction dust. Construction dust is the least of your worries, my friend. You're talking about PM 2.5. PM 2.5. Now, as I had mentioned in the video that I made, Da Nang is not as polluted as Hanoi or Saigon. Hanoi is the 8th most polluted city in the world, by the way. Okay? Da Nang is not as polluted, but it's still very polluted. It's very polluted. Go on one of those pollution maps and see for yourself. Okay? You're talking about particulate matter that can reach the bloodstream through your lungs and cause many chronic conditions, including acute conditions, emergency conditions, heart attack, stroke. These are facts. Okay? You're not going to hear this. You think any of these fucking idiots watching YouTube know this? No. You know, you think the point people would be to educate, to inform, right? As to the you know the risks, the reality. That doesn't sell. That doesn't sell. Right? It doesn't sell the packages, the memberships, the tour packages. You see, it's all bullshit. They're giving you an exaggerated, one-sided version. They don't talk about the massive issues. Now, this Travis guy is a total fucking shyster, because what he will do, and Evan as well, I've seen him already do it. Once again, you can tell when a critical mass is reached, whereby there's enough material being pumped out online, people talking about the noise or the construction, they'll make a video to make it look like they're on this, and they cover it, and they'll spin it. You see? I know how these fucking clowns work. I mean, it's just obvious. You see, you got a guy here who's willing to accept. Oh well, you know, you can't have a developed place without construction. Da Nang is already developed, you fucking bonehead. The reason why there's so much construction is because you've got people from Hanoi. That's who runs most of Da Nang, by the way. That's who owns most of Da Nang, is people from Hanoi. I'm not going to even get into where they got their money and why they run Da Nang. I'm not going to get into that issue. Okay, that's a whole nother fucking cup of tea right there. Most of Da Nang is owned by people from Hanoi. They buy, and I'll give you all a little education none of these motherfuckers know. About every 3 years, the government releases property in Da Nang. That's when the auctions, the land auctions, right? They have the land auctions. So the people from Hanoi, who are largely the buyers of the land, what do? They buy a little land plot, and then they build a little mini hotel. Okay? Meanwhile, you've got many hotels that are, 10 years old, that are 20 years old, that eventually sell. Guess what happens? More times than not, the people who buy that plot of land with that building on it, they demolish it. Because the buildings aren't made to last. They've got mold, they've got all kinds of issues. So they just demolish it because it's much cheaper than the land. Okay? This is why you have constant construction in Da Nang. It's not because it's a massively growing place. It's not growing any faster than Saigon, or Hanoi, or Haiphong, or Dong Nam. It's not growing as fast, in fact. But you have the construction in Da Nang that way because of, and even more so, because of the Hanoian people are chasing the foreign money. So they're building these new little mini hotels, and they're destroying the older ones. They're buying the land. This is what's going on. You're never going to hear this from anybody else. I'm the guy that just explained to you the details of what the fuck is going on. None of these fucking idiots know. Okay? Fact. Would you expect any less from the world's best investment analyst? So, take a look. So he's basically saying, this is what this Travis fraudster, the subconscious message is basically put in the video. I didn't even watch the video, and I know. I already know how he's going to spin it. He's basically, oh, it's so fast growing with this construction. That's what you got to get if you want to expect it to grow, and it's going to be, they want to give you that excuse, and that's just fucking nonsense. Oh, so you want to basically be an apologist? You want to say it's fast growing, so you're an apologist for the fact that people in wheelchairs have to wheel the wheelchair people in the streets because the sidewalks are blocked from construction material, or you have to put the baby stroller in the busy street because of the construction materials. Is that acceptable? No, it's not fucking acceptable. In that situation, the officials in Da Nang are not doing their job. Now, I have noticed one thing. In some of the main corridor streets, clearly the police have caused the people to move the motorbikes, to create a pathway, a walking way on these sidewalks, which is an improvement. The problem is that they have to do it in all the streets. They haven't done it in all the streets. And then the main problem is that the construction, well, forget it. It's out of the question. The construction, basically, they block the sidewalks and even many times the streets. I see it all the time. So, and let me give you all a little story here to give you an example of the scumbag pieces of trash foreigners that are in Da Nang. I was walking one time, not. This was fairly recently, about a month ago when I was in Da Nang. I was walking past this pickleball court, and the sidewalk is pretty wide, and so there were motorbikes that were blocking the sidewalk, but they didn't have to. They were just kind of back into the sidewalk was wide enough to park like probably the length of 1.5 motorbikes. So there was enough room to park a motorbike and leave space for someone to walk. And so they were all parked randomly. And so you can't use the sidewalk. You got to walk on the busy street. And understand that these streets, oftentimes, and in my case, they had cars that were parked on the street, so you're even in more danger because you're walking in a very narrow street. And even add to that, you've got a lot of electric vehicles that don't make noise. And like in America, they don't have sound to the vehicles, so you can't even hear them. Coming up behind you. So I saw this guy, a Westerner. He had his helmet on, and he was getting on his motorbike, getting ready to leave. I was right there. I was walked up to him, and I was like, "Oh, excuse me." I was very polite. "Excuse me, sir. Do you think you can in the future park your motorbike such that people can pass through the sidewalk?" I kid you not. He said, "No, I can't." That is an exact quote. "No, I can't." And I said, "You're not even supposed to park the motorbike here, actually." See, he's too stupid. What's happening is these foreigners are coming to Vietnam, these Westerners, and they see the Vietnamese. They say, "Oh, well, the Vietnamese are parking their motorbikes on the sidewalk. It means it's okay." So first of all, what they're doing is they are adapting to the norms of locals, okay? And they are discarding the standards from the West in an area that's got massive Westerners. So they're using it as an excuse for bad behavior, okay? Not knowing, because they're ignorant and stupid, that it's actually not legal to park on the sidewalk. You see, just because nothing's happening doesn't mean it's legal. It's not legal, okay? In most of these places anyway. And certainly, definitely not legal to just park all over the place and block the sidewalk. In areas where you can park, you're supposed to make way for pedestrians. But you had this guy actually give me this fucking attitude. Unfucking believable. I'm trying to make him aware that there are pedestrians who need to use the sidewalk. And he's telling me, "Oh, no, I can't." And I'm telling him, and in fact, this is a guy, I can guarantee you, these foreigners don't even have motorbike licenses. They're all riding motorbikes illegally. It's fucking unbelievable. This whole mentality of these fucking scumbag Westerners in Da Nang. I'm telling you, folks, it's a bunch of filth. Whether it's the The tattooed fucking losers from the West, the fucking losers who can't even afford Bali anymore. That's what it looks like. A bunch of fucking weirdo, tattooed, misfit, degenerate losers. And you even get, of course, the Russians. The rude fucking Russians who will, as happened to me, they will break in front of your mind. Like some fucking savages. I'm telling you, folks, this shit's got an end. You already have locals in Da Nang who have this has been like for 3 years now, have moved out of the city area because they can't afford it anymore. Because the foreigners have driven up the prices. Their stupidity, right? You can imagine the stupidity of the foreigners. They'll just, they'll pay whatever's asked, as long as it's lower than what they're paying back home, right? Even though they're living in a fucking box that's probably filled with mold. Big problems, man. Big problems. So, Da Nang Social Club. So, basically, he's saying, look, we can meet and we can meet all together, and you have to pay. You're going to pay me $50 a month to be in this club. I'm going to tell you how to rent a motorbike. I mean, what? How to rent a motorbike? I mean, are you mentally retarded? You have to be. You have to be. If you're paying anyone to show you how to get a SIM card, to exchange your currency, to rent a motorbike, you're mentally retarded. You are mentally fucking retarded. It's amazing to me. Here you got the whole, and let me just say one more thing, by the way. The prices in Da Nang, at least and you got to understand, the tourist area in Da Nang is, you're talking now about a massive, it's basically oceanside. Da Nang has got, it's got a big area across the river, it's riverside, but the ocean strip, basically that whole side, not just, Maiki Beach, the whole side is basically a tourist area, so it's massive. You're talking about prices at the convenience stores. Everything in the convenience stores in Da Nang, the prices are higher than Saigon. And the reason why, there's two reasons why. First of all, they don't have the chains. They don't have Circle K. They don't have, I guess they don't allow Circle K or 7-Eleven. They won't let the locals, I guess there's laws, they won't allow them. So you have independently run convenience stores. Okay, so you kind of have price collusion. That's what you have. You don't have really competition. And the second reason is because they can charge higher rates. The foreigners are too fucking stupid to know. So you say, well, okay, the prices are higher for convenience stores. Folks, it's not like in America where convenience stores like where you go and get gas and maybe you get a pack of gum or something. Convenience stores in Asia, specifically Southeast Asia, especially, these are where people get most of their goods because they don't have many supermarkets. They'll have some, but they're kind of in the suburbs, and it's not like in America. So people get most of their stuff from the convenience stores, most of their goods. Okay. Now the other thing is that you got to understand in Da Nang was very, very cheap relative to Saigon in terms of everything. It's not now. Saigon, is probably the most expensive city. Well, definitely the most expensive city in Vietnam, no matter what you're talking about. Da Nang was much, 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 much cheaper a few years ago. Now, some things are more expensive. Okay, some things are more expensive. Namely, the convenience stores. Right there, it's a perfect example. Okay, another example: certain foods. Now, another thing about the area, you can't even get local food. It's near impossible to get reliable local food in the tourist area that you can trust. You don't even have many spots anymore. Why? Well, because you've got, it's kind of like Bangkok now, the tourist area of Bangkok. All these fucking bros, all these bros came to Bangkok and what do? Well, let's open up a restaurant. It's nothing but fucking burgers and pizza everywhere in Bangkok now. It's very difficult in the Sukhumvit area, the Asok area, to find, decent Thai food now. Unlike before. You're seeing fucking burgers and pizza places. This is what you have in Da Nang. Okay, you get all these foreign restaurants everywhere. So I'm bringing this up because, first of all, that's kind of pathetic, right? You got losers. Think about it. Why is there such a demand for all these Western places in Da Nang? Why? Because you got a bunch of losers in Da Nang, just like Thailand now, that are there for the wrong reason. They're not there organically. They're there because they saw scam tube videos and videos on social media. How it's cheaper and this and that. They're not there for the local culture. They're not there for the local cuisine. They're there to eat their burgers and pizza. Okay? Now, I'm bringing this up because another example of high cost. The pizzas in the restaurants in the tourist area of Da Nang are generally higher priced than in Saigon. That says a lot. Because if you understand what the prices were in Da Nang. So you're seeing, because of the tourists, because of the foreigners in Da Nang, you're seeing a good amount of inflation across the board. Rents as well. I already talked about rents. I mean, rents before, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, rents were 50%, 60% cheaper. You're already seeing now, to get a decent one-bedroom apartment in a decent location, you're talking about, you're going to pay $700-800. Okay? $700-800. Now people say, no, you don't talk about no. Well, it's about judgment. Okay? My decent and your decent might be different because you may not have good judgment. For instance, you may not understand the mold issue. For instance, you may not understand the risk issue of you not being in a good location, so you're going to have to take grab rides. Every time you get on a motorbike, you're increasing the chance of a major accident. That's fact. Okay? And you got foreigners riding motorbikes in these countries. So they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't even realize, oh yeah, it's good, you just rent your motorbike. Oh, you can buy a motorbike. Folks, I have never ridden a motorbike in Asia. And I never will. And you know why? Because I'm not a fucking idiot. I understand how dangerous it is. Most people don't understand what risk is until they bite the bullet, until something happens. Just like in the investment world. People in the stock market don't understand what investment risk is until they fucking lose their ass. Okay? That's a judgment call. You got to understand what risk is. It's not that difficult, actually. It's very risky if you're a foreigner, especially a Western foreigner. It's not as risky if you're Asian, but because of the culture difference, the way the thought processes are. If you are a Western and you're in Asia, you don't understand the minds of the locals. You don't understand when they're going to pull out or do this or that. You don't understand how they drive. You don't understand their logic. It's a completely different system. This is why in Thailand, I've mentioned this many times, the number one cause of death in Thailand for foreigners is on the roads. In Vietnam, who knows? Vietnam hasn't established itself yet for Westerners as a kind of a tourism place, but eventually we'll see. We'll see how that turns out. Okay? But you see that these Westerners, once again, they think they can save money. Oh, well, when I was in America, I was paying for my car payment and my insurance and this and that. In Vietnam, I buy a motorbike for $1,000, a used motorbike, and it's just cheap, and the gas is cheap, and I can just ride around. Yeah, dumbass, you're increasing the chance that you're going to end up in a fucking ER. That's if you make it, because in Asia, in Southeast Asia, the ambulances kind of take a long time to get to the hospital as well as get to you. People don't yield for ambulances in general in Southeast Asia. So it can take an hour for an ambulance to get to you and an hour to get to the hospital. You got it? Okay? See, people don't understand. They don't think about any of this stuff. You're not going to hear this from these guys. It's all paradise. It's all cheap paradise. It's great. Right? Let's take a look now at will. And we'll get back to Evan. We haven't even seen Evan's bullshit yet. So let's take a look here. Will travels. Will travels. So let's see what he's got here going on here. What's he got going on here? Come to Da Nang service. Okay. Okay.
What's up, guys? In this video, I'm going to go over exactly what is in my Welcome to Da Nang in-person service offers. It's going to show you guys everything from the airport pickup, checking you into your hotel, converting your currency, getting you a SIM card, and everything you guys need to know about coming here to the city of Da Nang. So stick around.
You see, once again, folks, and this addresses another issue. And let me just mention, ever since COVID, Asia has been ruined. Southeast Asia has been totally ruined by mainly Western tourists and expats. It's completely different. Asia's fucked now. Before COVID, a little bit different. In some places, a lot different. But what's happened, from my experience, and I've been in Asia for many years, it's a completely different crowd. Once again, you have most people that are going to Asia, Southeast Asia now, they don't belong there. They're going for the wrong reason and they don't belong there. So we'll say, how can you say that, Mike? How can you say they don't belong there? Who are you? What I'm saying is that, and they're going for the wrong reason, they're not going organically. They're not going like in the past when, you know, some people maybe they thought they want to retire in Asia. They wanted to go there and maybe become an expat or after COVID, what's happened is you get all these bros. You got the younger crowd who maybe, you know, of course you've had the labor force issue, so they can't get a job, or they want to work remotely because they've been sold this dream of cheap living, right? This is like it was, you know, 10 years ago with the digital nomad swindle, similar situation. And so you're getting a younger crowd that's less interested in going to the country to learn, to interact with the people, to, you know, experience the culture, experience the food. They're there for cheap living. And as a result of that, that's why they have all these fucking burger and pizza places. You see? And that impacts these countries, right? It also, in Thailand, we're already seeing the Thais now, they're just fed up with the foreigners because you got the younger people, they're disrespectful, right? They don't care about being respectful and they just want to use it as a playground, as a cheap fucking playground. And that's what you're seeing in Da Nang. I'll give you an example. As I mentioned, you know, Da Nang Beach is nice. They've got manicured grass, looks like a golf course, right? The government does a great job. Super. I mean, it's you know, and the workers, you know, you know, of course, you know, the people you see working doing the landscaping, they're getting paid peanuts. They do a great job. What do you see? You see Westerners lying on the grass, which clearly, you know, you look at the grass, you know you shouldn't get on that grass. They lie on it with their yoga mats and do fucking yoga. And they do these little headstands and shit, little circus routine. Like I remember seeing the same shit in Chiang Mai at the park 10 years ago. You've got these people, they just come and treat it as a fucking playground. They don't care, they don't have any respect. I didn't even mention the fact that they all walk around, not on the beach, just everywhere. Outside of the beach, they walk around shirtless. They're so fucking stupid and insensitive. They don't even know. You do not walk around without a shirt, typically, unless you're on the beach. It's just not done. It's really disrespectful. Do they know that? No. Do they care? No. They're treating it as their playground. Okay? Now, to some extent, the officials are to blame because they're not doing anything. And the problem is what's going to have to happen is it's going to have to be, you know, kind of a water boiling over before something is done. Unfortunately, let me kind of show you here, give you an example. Okay, Some of you all might be familiar with this. I wrote an article about this. There was a robbery in Da Nang. This points to the issue. There was a robbery in Da Nang last year, okay? Late last year at a jewelry store. And it was shocking. I couldn't believe it. From an American. I mean, if it was someone from Asia, specifically like Chinese or Korean, I could believe it because they seem to not really care. They'll come to Da Nang and, you know, do all types of illegal activities. Okay, because I don't know, they feel more comfortable in their area. I don't know. But to come from all the way around the world, and by the way, that's not a racist thing. If you look it up, you're going to see Chinese and Koreans are constantly being busted in Da Nang for illegal gambling, for instance, and also illegal sexual services. You don't hear about Westerners, committing crimes like this at all. You don't hear about committing crimes at all. Why? Think about it. Why would a Westerner go halfway around the world to a communist country? And I say communist because, like, you don't know what's going on there. Like, do you have any rights? You understand? And they would actually rob a jewelry store. That's what happened. I couldn't even believe it. I figured the guy has to be mentally ill. Who would do that, right? If you're from the West. I mean, if you're from the West, you just, we're taught differently, okay? But it happened, okay? Now, and you can see right here, and this is just shocking. I think what happened, this guy, he was in Da Nang, and he looked around and saw, they typically have security guards, they're older guys, they sleep, they don't do anything, they don't have guns, and he figured he could just break into the jewelry store and easily get away. What he was too stupid to realize is that, yeah, it's a communist country. It's got CCTV fucking everywhere. So they're going to get you. They're going to track you down, guaranteed. Take a look. He's beating this man with a fucking metal bar. Can you believe this shit? Well, look at this guy. Of course, you can tell he's a sissy. You can tell he's a sissy, right? Not the guard, this guy. By the way he moves. I mean, can you believe this? This is just shocking to me. And the guard's like, he doesn't know what, he can't believe it. And from this assault on the guard, this guy will never be in jail. Watch this American guy. What a wussy. He's just looking. He's built like a bitch. Look at the way he moves. Watch how he runs. I mean, what a fucking sissy. Look at him. He runs almost like, what's his name? The fake martial arts guy from Hollywood. What's his guy's name? Seagal. Steve Seagal. What a sissy. Oh, his last name is James. Interesting. That's an interesting surname. First name, surname. I wonder what background he is. There's a good chance I know. Boom, motherfucking boom. Okay, so take a look. So what happened? It's shocking, but folks, this is the collateral damage you're getting already from this whole Da Nang grifting cheap paradise marketing. You've got guys like this who thought he could live cheap in Da Nang. He came from America. By month 3, this third month, he didn't have any more money. Maybe he thought he was going to be able to live for a year. Why? The same reason why you've got a lot of fucking idiots who watch YouTube videos, and you can read it in the comments. Go through and see the videos. That's it. I've decided. I'm moving to Da Nang. I'm selling my stuff. I saw the video. I'm moving. I swear to God, I've seen this countless times. This is the danger. And you have people profiting from this, selling their courses, selling the dream. Oh, come, you don't need any money. I'll show you how to retire. I'll show you how to make a business. Just come here. Pay me money. These people, in my opinion, are fucking common criminals that are doing this. They are fucking criminals. Travis, no. Evan, yes. Evan, yeah, definitely. Until Travis starts selling his course and telling you can come here with no money, he's not doing that. But he's still doing something because he's in that whole ecosystem. Right? Building the dream. So this guy that robbed the jewelry store, he ran out of money. He was sold a dream. He thought he could live in Da Nang cheaply. And he got so desperate. I mean, I still don't understand why the fuck he would do this, but he actually robbed the jewelry store. I mean, look at the guy, the way he moves, the way he's built. It's not like he's, you know, he's stacked for success to pull it off, right? I mean, to be honest, he kind of moves like a girl. And you can read the article. Okay? Should I read it for you guys? When the news broke that an American man in Da Nang robbed a jewelry store and assaulted a security guard, later explaining to police they had simply, quote, run out of money, the reaction focused on shock and confusion. Why would someone leave one of the world's wealthiest nations only to commit a violent crime in a foreign, tightly regulated communist country? And a very low-income country, by the way. How is this possible? Why would someone do this? I mean, go back to America, dude. You can get on welfare. Free medical, free food, free housing, right? The deeper significance of the incident reaches well beyond the victims and perpetrator. The case is best understood as a predictable consequence of a decade-long global movement built on illusion, fabricated lifestyles, deceptive marketing, and industrial-scale misinformation. The robbery is more than an isolated act. It is a symptom produced by what can be termed the digital nomad fantasy economy, a manufactured system that increasingly funnels unprepared, ill-equipped individuals into foreign cities under false pretenses. The digital nomad illusion, a manufactured escape fantasy. Over the last 10 to 15 years, Western social media ecosystems have propagated a powerful myth that individuals with mediocre skills, minimum savings, inconsistent career histories, and little long-term planning can relocate to Southeast Asia and instantly achieve a luxurious, stress-free lifestyle while working just a few hours per week. This narrative is amplified through clickbait cost-of-living videos, affiliate-driven lifestyle vloggers, pseudo-entrepreneurs selling digital courses, and short-term expats exaggerating their success for online engagement. The message is relentlessly consistent. Life here is unbelievably cheap. Anyone can live like royalty. Skills are optional. Happiness, peace, and freedom are waiting for you. Just escape. This is not information, and it is not reality. It is a big fat dirty lie. It is a deceptive marketing funnel. Before, Chiang Mai was the focal point of the digital nomad fantasy economy. And then it was Bali. More recently, Da Nang has become one of the most frequently exploited stages.
Hi, and welcome to Living Thai. Are you sick of waking up feeling uninspired and bored with life? Is your life full of doing stuff you don't like, surrounded by idiots earning just enough to get by? Well, screw that. Do you have dreams of wild travels and awesome adventures? Do you have a deep craving for fun, excitement, and passion? Then you need Living Thai VIP access. As a VIP member, we show you exactly how to escape the dead-end rat race and experience the Thai dream. We should know, because we live it 24/7. LivingThai.org has helped hundreds of guys have the most awesome adventures of their lives. And now, it's your turn. With our exclusive VIP access, we let you in on all our secrets, tips, and tricks, and show you exactly what you need to live and party in Thailand to crazy rockstar god excess. You'll learn how to make money both in Thailand and online. We show you our exact methods. Get no BS step-by-step instructions on how you can make money.
I'm not going to play all this. So you can see this is really the same thing as Evan is doing, except this is geared towards younger people, the party mentality. Evan has geared his shit towards older people looking to retire, right? Of course, Vietnam doesn't have the party scene that Thailand has. It's nowhere near that. So that's why, you know, this is catered towards that. So, Da Nang increasingly resembles a small city forced to host a multi-day free concert several times per year. Waves of transient digital nomads arrive, spend quickly, crowd beaches and public spaces, and strain local infrastructure. When they leave for Bali, Thailand, or the next internet-proclaimed cheap paradise, They leave behind inflated prices, destabilized rental markets, disrupted local rhythms, and no institutional or economic continuity. The outcome is a cyclical pattern of price volatility, gentrification pressure, overcrowded public spaces, English-dominated commercial zones, and weakened cultural cohesion. The social friction produced by this cycle is subtle but cumulative. It functions as a form of societal pollution, not of material waste, but of norms, expectations, and community cohesion. The American robber represents the type of individual who believed digital nomad propaganda at face value. His assumption that Da Nang is extremely cheap, remote income is easy, and long-term comfort requires minimal planning were not formed independently. They were cultivated by social media influencers and self-styled experts and other grifters who oversell the viability of passive income and present vacation footage as evidence of an everyday lifestyle. Meanwhile, they leave out the cons while hiding their financial safety nets back home. Tourism is repackaged as entrepreneurialism. Leisure becomes productivity. Instability becomes freedom. And this is the operating model of the digital nomad fantasy economy. For these scammy fiction creators and parasites, Da Nang is not a real city, but a visual backdrop, a stage prop, and a carefully curated sales funnel. This fake it till you make it scam has ruined millions of lives, but it keeps going because there has been insufficient pushback. Mainstream media outlets, most notably CNBC Make It, have reinforced this narrative by featuring individuals who allegedly quit their 9-to-5 to work 2 hours a day on the beach. These are anecdotal, non-representative, and often unverifiable claims presented as typical outcomes. At the end of the day, CNBC is doing the exact same thing as these influencers. They're selling ads and courses with the implied promise of providing economic prosperity, freedom, and happiness. When vulnerable viewers take this messaging literally, they arrive abroad unprepared. Many burn through savings quickly. Some become stranded. Some become mentally unstable under the pressure of collapsed expectations. And one man in Da Nang resorted to violent crime. The modern digital nomad movement is not an economic model. It's a scammy lifestyle product linked to sales funnels, pyramid schemes, and other scammy avenues. Make no mistake, the digital nomad has been embedded into a rabbit hole that's very deep. Its ideological structure depends on so-called geographical arbitrage, which varies from being highly exaggerated to non-existent once you account for all variables. Visa loopholes, which are temporary and or come with significant risks. Exploitation of host cities' infrastructure, glamorizing instability as freedom, and promoting fantasies while avoiding some of the more unattractive aspects of these paradises. The individuals who promote this lifestyle profit from selling courses, coaching programs, templates, guides, or how I make passive income videos. Because of these structural flaws, the digital nomad lifestyle itself does not scale because there are not enough remote jobs. The jobs are not sustainable and the infrastructure is insufficient. The cultural elasticity in host cities is unable to absorb such inflows indefinitely. Thus, promoters scale the digital nomad illusion instead. This is why Southeast Asian communities are now filled not with high-skilled professionals, but with individuals who are sold an impossible dream, now living on a shoestring budget as they seek to escape from their problems at home. Many of these individuals eventually wake up to reality and return home. They are the fortunate ones because they have a chance to take advantage of the many wonderful things and endless opportunities afforded by Western nations. Others remain delusional, so they resort to anything to earn an income because they are so afraid of going back home to face their problems. But they cannot escape these problems because they follow them wherever they go. Many of these individuals join freelancer sites and practice their learning low-level editing and other low-skilled work while billing customers. In part, this accounts for the low-quality work, scams, and other customer complaints on sites like Upwork and Guru. Most of the people who stick around enter the very scammy digital nomad escapism ecosystem, putting out fake content while posting affiliate links and selling relocation consultation, retirement courses, and other trash to their naive and desperate audience. So you can read this here. You know, he claims he's retired. If you're retired, why are you spending all your fucking time on YouTube? pitching sales funnels. That's not retired. News fucking flash. Retired means you don't fucking work anymore. Fucking idiot.
If you're thinking about moving to Vietnam, this will be the most useful hour you spend all year, perhaps even for your whole life, man. I'll show you exactly.
This guy is a degenerate, scumbag, tattooed, loser, fraudster, scammer. And he's hiding his name. He won't tell you his name. Why are you hiding your name, buddy? Huh? You got something, skeletons in the closet? Are you a felon? What's going on? People, if you don't know who it is that you're listening to, that you're reading, don't read, don't listen. Why is the person hiding, right? Check into their credentials. How is he qualified to give you any advice, much less retirement or anything else? He's a poorly educated bum who's never had a real job in his life. He's a lifelong internet scam artist. And he's working illegally in Vietnam, selling lies, selling hope, selling dreams to people who are desperate, who want an escape from their problems back home. Folks, newsflash, you can't move to another country to escape the problems that you may have back home because they're going to follow you. Those problems will follow you. You need to fix your problems at home. Then you can go somewhere. You need to earn a good amount of money and have a large savings. Then you can move to a developing country. Do not ever, and this is the problem, the people that these guys are targeting are broke. The last people that should move from the West to a developing country are people who don't have much money. That's right. It sounds like the opposite, right? No. You need to have a good amount of money if you're going to move to a developing country. Why? Because you don't have the safety nets that you have in the West. If you're in one of these countries, if you're in Vietnam, if you're in the Philippines, and you need to go to the hospital, guess what? You don't leave that hospital until you pay the bill. It's a virtual prison. They will not let you out of that hospital until you pay the fucking bill. You got it? How come Evan's not telling you that? How come Travis isn't telling you that? They're not telling you any of this stuff that I'm saying. Every fucking thing I said has been the truth. 100% truth. Remember, I'm not the guy with the sales funnel linked to my content. I'm the guy out there trying to help people from being swindled by these fucking frauds who don't give a shit. They're putting people's health and safety in harm's way potentially to make money. That makes these guys complete fucking scumbag scammers. And they're doing it illegally. They don't even have a work permit to do this shit. Okay? Why the fuck are you going to go? Folks, if you're only living on Social Security, trust me, you're better off staying in America. Okay? You'll probably qualify for some form of welfare. Do you realize that? Do you understand? You're not going to be denied emergency medical care. You won't starve. You will have food. You will have shelter. Okay? You will have medical. The people that are homeless in America are, the vast majority, it's because of drugs. I'm not saying everybody, but the vast majority is because of drugs. That's the reality. In Southeast Asia, they don't have welfare. So you better have a lot of money, because when you move to another country, you don't have family in that country. You don't have friends who are going to help you if something happens. Okay? That's the reality. The problem is you got a bunch of brokies moving to these countries, and they don't understand how vulnerable they are financially. Completely different system. They don't realize that if you don't pay your hospital bill, you don't leave that hospital until it's paid. You will not leave that hospital. Vietnam, I think it may be a little variable. I'm not sure. The Philippines, someone correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure that across the board in the Philippines, it's kind of an unwritten rule. You're not leaving that hospital. You're treated as a prisoner until you pay the bill. I mean, think about that. Okay?
What you need in your first 30 to 180 days, how you're going to set it all up, where you're going to live.
I mean, I don't understand. Who would fall for this? It's like you're talking to an 8-year-old. How are you going to set it up? Where are you going to live? Are these 8-year-olds? Anybody that needs this stuff, you have mental problems, please do yourself the best favor in the world. Do not leave your country. If you need someone to tell you where to get an apartment, how to get a SIM card, how to find a doctor, you don't need to be leaving your country. You're going to be fucked. Trust me on that. It's common sense. Listen to this guy.
Visa to get, how much to budget, even how to find your first doctor, apartment, neighborhood, the whole deal.
Someone tell me this is not catered to mentally retarded people. It has to be. I mean, am I wrong? The problem is this is a large part of the YouTube audience.
Fast and easy, no guesswork, just a simple road.
Folks, let me tell you something. I've never run across anybody that has, I don't understand it. Who would not know this? You want to find a doctor, it's easy. You go to the hospital. You look it up. You look up the phone number. You call. I don't understand I don't understand what people don't get. The airport sells SIM cards. You don't even need to go to a phone company. It's right there. I mean, you know, it's funny. It's amazing. You know, it seems like these people now are becoming so mentally handicapped. They say, "Oh, I do my research before I move there. I watch YouTube videos." So let me tell you. When I left for Asia, I didn't need to do my research. You know, part of the experience, part of the pleasure is the adventure. Not having someone give me, "Oh, you go here and you go here." I find what my judgment tells me. I don't need some fucking idiot to tell me where to stay. Because you know what, folks? Most of these people, by the way, they're not just giving you what they think you should do. They're being paid commissions. Did you know that? They're being paid commissions. So when they recommend that you go to this place and rent a place there, or go to this real estate, they're getting paid money, which means you're going to pay a higher price. Did you all know this? Remember, you're talking about foreigners who are desperate. They're broke. The only way they have to make money is to scam other foreigners. This is what's going on, I'm telling you. I've been in Asia longer than any of these fuckers that are grifting in Da Nang. And my judgment's a hell of a lot better than theirs. And most importantly, perhaps, I don't have a sales funnel. I'm not selling anything.
But Vietnam's not for everyone. If you're just browsing for entertainment or trying to skip ahead to some fantasy dream ending, it might not be for you. This course isn't going to save lives. It's for people who are actually thinking about moving to Vietnam, but...
Now you notice the hedge there. So in other words, this is for people who's already brainwashed. You understand? If you're watching his content, you're already hooked. You already have this narrative in your mind. You're already in the cult. You're not going to escape. It's obvious. There's no doubt about that. This guy's a fucking fraud, man. Let me continue. The Ferriss effect, how the 4-hour work week became the ideological blueprint. Tim Ferriss's 4-hour work week played a disproportionate role in shaping the philosophical foundations of the digital nomad movement. The book's ethos was that anyone can work only 4 hours a week and still enjoy global luxury. As part of his pitch, Ferriss glamorized relocating to low-cost countries, encouraged readers to market themselves as experts beyond their actual qualifications, portrayed automation as a near magical solution, and showcased success stories without sufficient context or reproducibility. Although framed as nonfiction, many of the book's claims lack empirical grounding, making it functionally indistinguishable from motivational fiction presented as instructional truth. Its structural traits align with academic literature, with what academic literature describes as deceptive success modeling, narratives that imply universal accessibility despite resting on exceptional, unreproducible, and possibly fictional circumstances. Ferris even instructed readers to strategically misrepresent their background and expertise to secure work. Most would conclude this to be an unethical or an ethically questionable tactic that many later influencers adopted because they were told by Ferris that it's okay to do. This ridiculous narrative and recommendations presented in the 4-Hour Workweek provided the seed from which modern laptop lifestyle marketing grew. It laid the groundwork for fake gurus, dropshipping influencers, digital nomad propagandists, passive income evangelists, and escapism-based marketing systems whose messaging now shapes behavior across Southeast Asia. And Da Nang, like many cities in Southeast Asia, is now bearing the consequences of this fraudulent ideology. Here you go. You can just read this for yourself. Oop, typo.
If you're coming to Da Nang, you're in the right place. I started a community here to make it easier for you to meet.
And then you got this guy. So here's Will. We get to Will now. I'm not going to read the rest. It's almost over, but let's see here. And basically, it's a call to action, the end. It's a call to action for officials to take notice and do something, okay, before it gets worse. Let me just read this here. Da Nang deserves more respect than to be treated as a cheap backdrop for Western escapism and social media content. Communities are not playgrounds. Cities are not content. And exploited fantasies can manifest real-world harm. The Da Nang robbery is not simply the story of one man's desperation. It is the inevitable outcome of a system built on deception. As it stands, the robbery is only the latest example of what can happen when the digital nomad fantasy is permitted to permeate foreign nations unchecked. Unless the underlying illusion collapses more broadly, the latest robbery will not be the last, nor will Da Nang be the final city forced to absorb the fallout of the digital nomad fantasy economy. It's time for the Da Nang locals, long-term expats, and government to enter the picture. So here you go, Will. This is the third guy here. He's the guy that charges $250 to meet you at the airport and show you how to get a SIM card and show you how to exchange your currency. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? You're a scammer, dude. Get a fucking job. Loser.
What's up, guys? In this video, I'm going to go over exactly what is in my Welcome to Da Nang in-person service offers. It's going to show you guys everything from the airport pickup, checking you into your hotel, converting your currency, getting you a SIM card, and everything you guys need to know about coming here to the city of Da Nang. So stick around. Oh, it looks like this is our buddy Eric right here. This is going to be our buddy right here. Eric, let's go over here real quick and let's go meet him. All right, so this is going to be the big step after picking him up out of the airport. We're going to go over here. We're going to go avoid all these fake scam Grab drivers, in-driver, all these.
You see, so now he's trying to like show value. Yeah, I'm going to show you the fake scam. Folks, everybody knows. All you got to do is look it up. There's two taxi companies to trust. Okay? Vinasun and Miley. That's it. Anybody else, don't go for. That's all. That's all you got to do. That's it. Okay? Or you can call a Grab. Okay? You don't get a Grab. You call one and they come to you. I mean, he acts like he's doing some service. What a fucking idiot.
Drivers, we're gonna avoid these.
This reminds me of like management consultants. You know, they basically. The saying is something like they tell you how to, they teach you how to tell time, right? How to tell time on your watch, and they charge you money for it. That's what this guy's doing, basically.
Guys, because some people get suckered into this, and it becomes a big nightmare. So he's got all his bags. Yep, always double check your bags. Got everything.
No,
and you said
no one gets suckered into this. Okay, no one gets suckered into anything. That's just fucking nonsense.
you had a little bit of cash in Dong already, correct?
I'm good for the night.
All right, so we're gonna head over here. This is the big day. The first day usually is just airport pickup, making sure.
So you can watch this video. It's funny because he actually edits it, but he went to a gold shop And you know, in Asia, you often get currency exchange at gold shops, and they'll give you maybe a little bit better rate, but it doesn't really even matter, because unless you have a ton of money, it's like pennies. Who cares? But it's a great example because it shows you spend all this time to go to the gold shop. You think, yeah, I'm going to give you the special rate, and they're not even open. So you waste like 2 hours. I mean, it's just fucking just nonsense. Anyway, so here's his. Yeah, see, this is the thing. Of course, that's another thing. Evan, he's telling you. This is the latest video. You'll see. It's kind of it's something that's popped up over the past couple of years. These expats, they'll come out and say, I can't afford to go home. Now, it's kind of a disingenuous pitch in a way, because they're saying, oh yeah, I can't afford to go home. I'm going to stay here. What they're basically saying is, wow, the costs have gotten so high in the West. Like, gosh, I'm better off here. Well, guess what? If you're in the West, you're getting salary increases. You're getting wage hikes. You understand? You're getting high wages. Of course you can't afford to go home, because you're making fucking peanuts, swindling people with fake content, conning them to move to some cheap paradise that doesn't exist. And you're doing it all working illegally without a proper work visa. And you know how I know none of these fucking scammers has a work visa? You know how I know that? Because I know the visa system in Vietnam, similar to Thailand. And similar actually to all these countries. You have to specifically be approved for the work that you're going to be doing. And if they put down what they're going to be doing, they won't be approved. Guaranteed. Their visas will not be approved for what they're doing. Okay, I know this for a fact. Retire now. Retire now, right? Look, let's take a look at his clickbait. This is all fucking bullshit. Remember, folks, who are you listening to? This guy is a tattooed fucking unemployable loser who's been grifting all his life versus a world-class analyst, Wall Street, big swinging dick, one of the top analysts in the world, easily, arguably, okay? Probably the number one guy. A professional, an Ivy League graduate, that's right. Not some fucking tattooed fucking broke loser, bullshit artist selling dreams. Let's see what we got here. And he's got like 3 channels. Cost of living abroad, right? Oh, he's got a new one. What's the cost of my living abroad membership? Fucking scammer, this guy. Let's see here. Take a look. Let me show you this. Now, one thing also to notice about these guys is that there's this big circle, right? Big circle jerk. So, a lot of these grifters, and not just Danang, it's the whole digital nomad, all the fucking internet scammers, they kind of enter the circle, like for instance, a new person will come to Danang, and they'll interview them. And then that person will start doing the same thing. They'll start putting out fake content, right? Selling the dream. You see? It's kind of like, to some degree you could consider it somewhat of a pyramid scheme. Take a look. See this Will guy, right? He was on his channel. And let's take a look here. So he's going to tell you the number one retirement lie. Once again, this guy is an unemployable loser who's never worked an honest day of his life in any type of job. I'm a Wall Street financial advisor, former, okay, and a world-class analyst. I advise people on retirement. I know about retirement. I'm also an expert in healthcare. This guy is a fraud. He's selling hopes and dreams. He's a total fraud. Broke? Move here. Look at that. You see that? If you're broke, move there. You see, if you're broke, he'll really have his claws inside of you. You're going to be dependent on him. He's going to show you the way. Just make sure and keep paying for that membership every month. And he's going to have special courses for you and a special packet on how to make money. You see, those are the people he really wants. Folks, once again, I said, the last people who should move to a developing country should be broke. You got to have a lot of savings because a lot of shit can happen. And you ain't got nobody around that's going to help you. And you don't have a forgiving system. Hospitals are going to keep you locked up like a jail until you pay. You understand that? I haven't even talked about the issue of medical care. Vietnam's medical care ain't so great. There's a big rumor that's been going online for years about Thailand medical care is so great. You've got idiots, even educated idiots, who will tell you it's better than America's. Let me explain something for all you fucking morons out there who don't understand the obvious. Number one, healthcare is technology based. Do you all understand that? It's technology based. And I'm an expert in healthcare, by the way. Not just because I wrote a book. You might want to look at on the ChatGPT analysis of my healthcare research. I'm considered one of the top healthcare economists in the world. Healthcare is technology based. You understand? The best medical care you can get is in the Western world. And you know why? Who do you think leads the world in technology? Who do you think sets the standards for medical procedures? Who writes the fucking laws, the rules? It's the West. The centers of innovation. You all understand that, right? I'm the guy, by the way, you look at, if you all don't know who I am, you better fucking spend the time to look. I was already predicting telemedicine 25 years ago, which is virtually unheard of. I did a lecture on that. And I even wrote it in a book 5 years later. I've been called a visionary because of that. So I know what's going on. Healthcare is technology based. Okay? Now ask yourself a question. If it's technology based, take a look at the educational system in Southeast Asia versus the West. Which one do you think is better? And then take a look at the technology capabilities. And this is not a slam on Southeast Asia. You know, they have their own way. You know, it's just that the non-Western world has decided they want to live like Westerners. Okay, and that's why they're behind in many things, because they've decided they want to live like us instead of living like they were before. So clearly they're going to be behind. They have their own way. Our way is technology, is innovation. Okay? I'm not here to judge either way. I'm just telling you the way that it is. Okay? Just about all of the innovation and technology you're getting in healthcare is coming from advanced nations. Okay? And most of that, the majority of that, is from the Western world. Some of that is from, a little bit is from Japan, and probably, I'm guessing, maybe a little bit from Taiwan. But understand, those are countries that have been modeled after the West. They are considered democratic countries. They're advanced countries. I mean, America lifted Japan up after the war. Completely was their fucking mentor. So Southeast Asia doesn't have these things. It has, generally speaking, Southeast Asia, the educational systems are pretty bad. Okay? This is why I'm not saying every school is bad, but generally speaking, they're pretty weak. This is why anybody who can afford international school in Southeast Asia, even in Asia, they will send their kids to international school. Of course, Evan doesn't want you to know that, by the way, if you're going to move to Vietnam, you better not have any kids, and you better not want to make any kids, because the schools, the international schools, are going to be anywhere from $25,000 to $45,000 per year, and that starts at kindergarten. So think about 14, 15 years. Kindergarten's going to be about maybe 20 grand for 2-3 years, and then it increases with the type of school. But you're talking about, let's say on average, let's call it 30 grand per year. So do the math. 30 grand times 15, right, times the number of kids. So you basically, you know, you're going to have to be a multi-millionaire if you got 3 kids. 2 kids, easily over $1 million. They don't tell you that, do they? You say, well, I don't need to take my kid to international school. Well, yeah, you do, because if you want your kid to have a chance, they got to go to international school, by and large. I'm not saying, I mean, there's always exceptions, but I'm just telling you the way it is. This is why everybody in these countries that has money, they put their kid in international school. That's just a fact, okay? So, you know, getting back to healthcare, do you really believe, we'll start with Thailand, because you go online, you go on Scam everywhere, oh yeah, no, it's a better system than America, it's better than England. Okay, first understand this, the educational system in Thailand is really fucked. Vietnam's educational system is better. Okay? Vietnamese take education more seriously. There's no doubt about it. Thailand, they don't take it seriously. There's a lot of cheating, a lot of payoffs, a lot of bullshit. Understand this as well. I have been told, I have no evidence, but I have been told by Thais, there are some physicians who buy their degree. Now, if you know anything about Southeast Asia, or Asia in general, you should understand that doesn't sound unreasonable. That sounds like a possibility. They actually buy their degrees. Okay? Now, you're going to hear all types of hyperbole. I have been to the best hospitals in Thailand, which are in Bangkok and Chiang Mai. And I'm telling you, I think it's a disaster. Do they do the low-level things good? Sure they do. It's inexpensive. You can get a routine exam, routine blood workup. Okay, fine, great. Maybe even some other more advanced things. I don't know. But when it comes to, imagine, if you have a triple bypass surgery, do you want to be in Thailand? If you're from America, you want to be. Remember, these countries don't have malpractice liability, right? They don't have malpractice insurance because it's virtually unheard of that you can sue a doctor. So you say, well, that's great. Keeps the prices low. Folks, once again, this whole libertarian stupidity that we've been brainwashed with, there's a reason for malpractice claims. It keeps you on guard. It keeps you, on guard to make sure that you're checking over everything. You're making sure to not make a mistake. In Asia, Southeast Asia anyway, they don't have that. So if anything happens, malpractice-wise, you're fucked. It's not exactly a nice security blanket there. To know that your doctor can do anything he wants in a country that's corrupt, potentially, enough to allow a doctor to practice, and something happens, and there's no legal repercussions, at least financial to the doctor. And keep in mind, by the way, in Vietnam, virtually any doctor who's licensed in his home country can practice medicine in Vietnam. Did you know that? You don't have to go through any residency, okay? You don't, virtually, I'm sure, if you're from some shit zone, they won't let you, okay? But most countries, if you have a medical license in good standing, you can come to Vietnam and practice medicine. That's a little bizarre, shocking. To me, it kind of says something about, the confidence in their own medical system, okay? The next thing, Vietnam, Thailand, you name it, they don't have a comprehensive cancer treatment center. They don't have it. It doesn't exist. If you have a serious problem in these countries, you better cross your fucking fingers in both hands. And you better pray to God and hope there is a God. I don't know if that's going to help. Okay? I personally do not want to be in a Southeast Asian country if I have a medical emergency, I'm pretty much going to expect to not make it. Okay? Knowing what I know about medicine, technology, health, and human disease, and I know a hell of a lot, I can tell you that right now. Okay? Now, I'm not saying the medical care is shit. I'm just saying that I can do better in America. America's system is you know, it's not great. There's a lot of problems. But compared to developing countries, no. No. I'll stick with America, okay? They don't talk about that now, do they? Remember, folks, just imagine an emergency issue. How long is it going to take you to get to the hospital? Right? So, anyway, enough with healthcare. Take a look. He's targeting desperate, broke people with this bullshit. These are the last people that should be going to a developing country. Remember, if you're broke, you're in the West, you get free medical, free housing, and free meals. If you're in Asia and you're broke, you say, well, I'm sticking to my budget. Okay, well, what happens if you know, something unforeseen happens? You got a big medical bill or whatever. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're fucked. Okay? You're fucked. You have no one to help you. You better have a big savings if you're going to move to a developing country. No doubt about it. Okay? Not only for that situation, for that reason, but also because you need money to insulate yourself from the environmental hazards. Okay? You understand? You need money to live in a nice place that doesn't have mold, a nice place that doesn't have noise, a nice place that has a convenient location, right? To eat at nice places. If you think you're going to move to any country, anywhere, and live on $1,000 a month, then you're just lowering your life expectancy. That's what you're doing. You're lowering your life expectancy. I hope you understand that. Okay? The pollution alone in parts of Southeast Asia, namely Vietnam, namely Bangkok and Thailand, you're probably talking about, on average, if you're living there as a Westerner for 20 years, you're probably going to lose, on average, a few years of your life expectancy due to chronic lung disease or some other, say, cardiovascular disease or something like that. I'll tell you myself personally, in Vietnam, I picked up a chronic condition that I can't get rid of. I've been trying to get rid of it for 3 years. I went to several dermatologists, I can't get rid of it. And it's due to the moisture and the mold in the air. Okay? I'm telling you. In Bangkok, for instance, and Vietnam doesn't have these controls as much, although I've seen them do it in Hanoi a little bit, but Thailand, Thailand is they're middle income now, so they have higher standards. It's a little safer, for pedestrians. I've noticed it's changed. You can actually walk across a street in Bangkok, and if a car's coming, they're not going to try and run you over. They're going to stop. In Vietnam, they're not going to stop. 9 out of 10 times. I'm telling you. They're going to keep going. I kid you not. So, people just, they don't understand. In Bangkok, you can look it up online. I think last year they had to several days they actually closed down the school systems in Bangkok because the pollution was so bad. I think Hanoi has done it too, but I think in Vietnam in general, they tend not to, at least right now, they're not doing that as much for whatever reason. But clearly, the pollution in Thailand, especially Bangkok, of course, and Vietnam, it's really bad. Just once again, just go online, take a look at one of those pollution maps, and see what the meaning is, what type of health conditions it can cause. It's pollution is one of those things. It's really deadly. It's kind of like, it's actually worse than smoking to some degree, because at least smoking, you're aware that it's going to hit you. Smoking is very chronic usually, right? It's a very slow death for most people. It's going to cause some type of chronic condition that's irreversible, right? That's pollution is even worse. I could argue why, because you don't necessarily sense pollution. Some people who are more sensitive, they'll sense it. I don't sense it. I've always had really good lungs. I don't really sense it. Some people can breathe in the air in Asia, and they're like, my God, this is terrible. So if you're not real sensitive to it, you're actually inhaling kind of a slow poison. People don't realize this, and by the time you realize it, it's too late. It's too late. Okay? And in terms of the food, folks, let me tell you something. I actually read, this is not any type of proof, but it confirms what I have been told, what I have heard, and what I have seen. I actually read a comment, it's kind of a unique comment, on ScamTube one time on a video. A lady said that she was a doctor in Vietnam. I think maybe I'm not quite sure if she was a GI doctor or not, but she said that she moved to Canada so her kids would not get GI cancer, because she saw so many cases of GI cancer in Vietnam. Now understand, first of all, the reporting in these countries is not, this is not a slam on Vietnam. In all of Southeast Asia, you're not going to get open transparency. America is the most transparent country in the world. So you're not going to get the reporting that you're normally going to get in America. The second thing, though, is that they don't really have much of a cancer treatment program in Vietnam. Not much of any success anyway. So when you have cancer in Vietnam, you're not going to live much longer. So if you're not living along with cancer, then obviously there's not going to be much data in terms of survival rates and so on and so forth. So my point is that I've been told by many people that they have had friends who have died of cancer at young ages. Stomach cancer, esophageal cancer. Okay, that's the chemicals in the food. I have been told, and I have seen this, the little bag sticking out from the side of your abdomen. When you see that, that means you don't have much longer. Anybody seen that? The little plastic bag? That's when your GI's got cancer, and the poop's got to come out from the bag. Okay? It's very common in Vietnam. I mean, you're not going to see it walking down the street. You'll only probably see that if you're in Vietnam living for a while. So this is from the food that Evan and all these guys tell you is cheap. Okay? You have chemicals. It's a chemical problem in Vietnam. Even in the paint. If you're ever in Vietnam and you're ever going by any building that's painting, I'm telling you right now, you're going to say, holy shit, what is this cancerous chemical, this carcinogen? It's happened to me many times. It's the standard paint. I can tell you by smelling the shit, it's a carcinogen. Guaranteed. And for those of you who may know, of course, I have a chemistry background. Okay? And I already mentioned, the coffee and the tea in Vietnam is a large amount of it, in my opinion, has chemicals, has pesticides. I've tasted it. I won't even ever touch the tea. I will not touch the tea. I'm talking the cold tea. I will not touch the tea in Vietnam. It's chemicals, I'm telling you. Won't do it. In fact, the safest drinks, in fact, it's not just Vietnam. Okay, let me tell you. In Japan, virtually every drink that I bought at the convenience store, at the 7-Elevens, I kid you not, I tasted chemical. So for those who think, oh, Japan's advanced, no. That's what I was saying earlier. Folks, all these countries in Asia, you may think, there's Japan and Korea are on a higher level and different than Singapore than South. No, there's a lot of similarities there. You're not dealing with the West, what we're used to, certain standards. You only appreciate those standards in the West once you go to these other countries. Okay? The safest drinks, I'm not exaggerating, generally the safest drinks, I believe, in Vietnam are from the convenience stores. It's the Cokes and the Pepsis. Okay? Because they have standards. There are standards that they abide by. You're not going to have the chemicals. That's what I've noticed. And it's probably true for, you know, some of the other countries. I think that there's a particular problem with Vietnam. And, you know, look, Thailand had the problem as well. It's just, you know, it's an income problem. As the incomes rise, you know, the standards get a little bit better. Right now, Vietnam is, you know, they're growing, and, you know, they're still, though, you know, it's people got to be aware. I mean, Vietnam is not an emerging market. It's a frontier market. You understand? So, you know, it's and I tell people, look, I say, look, Vietnam is not, it's for experienced expats. It's not the place you want to go if you're not an experienced expat. It's just that simple. Okay? If you want to go somewhere in Southeast Asia and you're not an experienced expat, you probably want to go to Thailand. That's the place you want to go. And even then, I mean, if you don't have any experience traveling in Asia, you're going to think that even that's like, wow, this is so different. But I'm telling you, Vietnam is far away from Thailand in terms of the standards and you know, the ease. See, Vietnam doesn't rely on foreign tourism. Thailand does. So Thailand is, you know, they have a professional. They're professionals in tourism. Been that way for decades. They have a whole economy that's structured on foreign tourism. Vietnam doesn't have that. That's why they have low standards. This is why the return rate for tourists to Vietnam is less than 5%. Less than 5%, you can look it up. Less than 5% of tourists who go to Vietnam ever return. Why? Because it's so fucking dangerous just to walk around in the road, on the sidewalks. I'm telling you, the standards are very low. Vietnam, you have to understand. Vietnam, you know, they were closed, a closed country up until the mid to late 90s, right? They were closed. You know, Vietnam War, the China War, and all this stuff. They were only the relations opened up in the West in the late 90s, I think mid to late 90s. So they officially kind of opened up then. It's been very slow. All that time, Vietnam has always relied on their own economy, you see. So they don't have an infrastructure, especially geared to Westerners. Thailand has always been strongly dependent on tourism. And, you know, you can look at the official numbers. That, you know, I think it's much higher than what they report in terms of the foreign money that they rely on. So you got to understand, because of that, it's not as advanced in many ways, right? And then, of course, you know, the governance is different. It's not a democracy, right? So, you know, you don't have as much awareness. You don't have as much competition. So you're not going to see, you know, this is why things on a lower standard are going to happen. That's just the way it is, you know. It's important for people to know what they're getting themselves into so they can make the decision. But you're not getting this anywhere on ScamTube. You're getting people with sales funnels selling you fucking bullshit. Okay? You know, if I didn't like Vietnam, if I thought, you know, I would never go to Vietnam. But I understand the reality, and I try and navigate things. That's the key. If you don't understand these risks, these issues, you can't navigate them. You're putting yourself in peril. That's the issue. You don't hear this back because these guys, they want to make money. They want to sell you the fucking bullshit. And they're actually endangering your life and endangering your future. Because they're telling you you can live cheap, come and retire like I did on $10,000. I'll show you how to make money. You're throwing away your future. Once you leave the West, after 2 years, it's over. You're not going back. You're starting back working at minimum wage. Now maybe you're working minimum wage already in the West. Guess what? You have a chance to lift yourself up. This is why the entire world outside of the West, essentially, except for the wealthy people in these countries they're not going anywhere, most of the people are dying to get into the West because of economic opportunity. There's other things, the perceived notion of freedom, right? I'm not going to get into that, but it's mainly economic opportunity. That's the bottom line, okay? And you have Westerners now, so many, because they're so brainwashed. A lot of it's this whole ecosystem of the grifters telling you America's finished, it's through, it's so expensive. Or Canada, it's finished, it's through, it's so expensive. Europe, it's finished, it's through, it's so expensive. I gotta get out of here. Okay, so you're gonna go where? You're gonna go to the Philippines and get a job doing what? Where are you gonna work? They don't need no English teachers in the Philippines. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, isn't English like an official language in the Philippines? I mean, they're all very fluent in English. They don't need no English teachers. What are you going to do in the Philippines? Oh, okay. So you go to Thailand. Well, you're not going to make much money as an English teacher. Vietnam. You can actually do decent, but you're not going to live a Western standard. I can guarantee you that. So what are you going to do? You're not going to have a choice, but you're going to say, okay, you're going to convince yourself that you're providing a value, a service, by grifting online, like Evan is doing, like Will is doing, like Travis is doing. Making fake content, exaggerated content, deceiving people to make money. That's fraud. That is fraud. Okay? Fraud requires intent. If it's intentional, it's fraud. If it's not intentional, it's just a scam. Either way, it's damaging. I believe they all qualify for fraud. There's no fucking way anybody can grow up in the West and be living in Vietnam for a while, like they have, and not understand that, yes, there is heavy pollution. Yes, the public safety is really dangerous, right? So on and so forth. Therefore, they're intentionally misleading people, deceiving people to make money. That is fraud. That is fraud. And they are frauds. And yet, I'm going to get pushed back. People are going to trash me and call me names, and I'm the bad guy. You know why? Because I'm ruining their dream. I'm trying to help them, but they're so fucking stupid not to see it that way. They see it as, oh no, you're a hater. Look at this. They're all liars. Everyone's lying. Everyone on YouTube is lying about Vietnam. You see? Here's the truth. Yes, you're going to believe some fucking guy who's tattooed all over the place, unemployable fucking loser, who's illegally working in Vietnam. He's breaking the law, and he knows the truth. He knows the truth. I don't know the truth. Right? World-class analyst. Been in Vietnam longer than him. And I don't know the truth. Okay. You fucking scammer. Don't wait. Retire now. You see that? You see it? Mm-hmm. Escape the U.S. Escape the U.S. Okay? See that? Mm-hmm. Of course YouTube pays your bills because you're scamming people with fake content. YouTube is designed this way. YouTube is a criminal operation. They're criminals. YouTube is partners in crime with all the scammers. People don't understand. YouTube is a complete criminal operation. It's fact. Facebook the same. Twitter the same. People don't understand this. I don't know why they don't understand. I mean, it's obvious. So this guy's a fraud. Let's take a look here. Oh yes, cost of living. So he's got these sites here. Choose your plan. Everything you need is to actually move abroad and retire early. So he's basically copying off this guy I'm going to talk about here shortly, I think. Look at this. 4 complete courses. I mean, folks, anyone who's showing a course who's not a world authority or a legitimate college professor is a fraud. Fact, write it down. Okay? That's fact. Courses are for universities. Okay? Universities. And top-tier experts, because top-tier experts qualify to be professors in, let's say, practical, for practical. So, for instance, if you worked on Wall Street and you've done great, maybe you don't have a business degree, but a lot of people that go to business school, graduate school especially, they want to know about Wall Street. They're going to work on Wall Street. They bring someone in who's actually fucking worked on Wall Street instead of these professors who've never worked a real job. You see, if you're selling a course and you're not a true expert or a professor, you're a fucking fraud. Write that down. Fact. That's it. Retire early. You see that? This is part of the FIRE movement. The FIRE movement's a scam, right? Financial independence. Retire early. No, that's a fraud. Just like passive income, these guys, you'll understand how the whole ecosystem is like a blob. You know the Blob, that movie? The Blob. It just keeps expanding outward and outward and outward, right? It's unbelievable. That's why this shit's so dangerous, because there's so many overlaps with other scammy narratives. Let me tell you something. The people who can retire early are the ones who have worked their ass off. But guess what? They don't retire early. You know why? Because they understand the importance of being useful and doing something useful. The gratification in that. The people who want to retire early are the fucking bums who have never done anything. And in reality, they haven't ever really even worked. That's the reality there. Here you go. He's got his whole menu here. His menu. Move to Vietnam Masterclass. I mean, look, folks. I mean, if you look at this, wow, $900. I mean, this is an unemployable fucking loser. This guy's a fraud, man. A total fucking fraud. Look at this. Masterclass. Step-by-step playbook. What fucking playbook? Somebody, you want my expertise? Right? I'll give you all the information you need to know. I mean, I don't know why you'd go to anybody. I mean, there's nothing. I'm already telling you the deal right now. I mean, based upon what I've said, I don't know if you even want to go to Da Nang for more than a weekend. You're going to be lonely as fuck. And by the way, for those of you who think you're going to meet girls in Da Nang, you ain't going to meet shit. Well, you might meet some undesirable girls, the Westerner girls that are typically like unattractive in Asia. In fact, it's funny, I actually saw a video about a couple of weeks ago. I guess there's some channels that talk about, women in the West and how undesirable they've become because of the mentality, whatever. It just so happens, you could look it up, I don't know if it's in the title, but I accidentally came across a video of some guy, wasn't in Vietnam, but he was talking about how apparently on social media in Vietnam, I guess there's like girls, Western girls who go to these Asian countries thinking that because there's a lot of Western guys, they go there to look for dates. I kid you not. Which I've always thought if I'm a Western girl, the last place I'm going to go is Asia. Do they not realize that most guys, single guys who are going to Asia, at least part of the reason why is to get away from the toxic Western girls, the fucking blabbermouth, bitches, like the culture is fucked. That's why they're leaving, in part, America. The last thing they want is generally to date a Western girl who's going to give the same bullshit attitude, thinking like they were a man, right? But they're stupid. So apparently, there was like posts on social media. There was complaining like, forget Vietnam, forget it. We don't have a chance here. Can't get a date. The girls are too attractive, right? That's apparently what was being said, which is true. And it's not just that. And let me explain something, folks. In Asia, it's a cultural thing. Girls are girls. They're females. This whole system hasn't invaded Asia. It will. It will eventually. It's already starting to. There's things that are already starting to. The LGBT movement is already in Vietnam. But it's about, because you identify yourself as an actual female, a distinct sex, and you know what comes with that, you take care of yourself. You see, that's the big thing. You take care of yourself. In the West, a lot of these bitches become obese and just, So now, on the other hand, it goes beyond that. In Asia, a lot of these girls have plastic surgery. Vietnam is massive. Vietnam could be second next to only South Korea. That's kind of the downside. But that's kind of the situation. So anyway, my point is this. The point is, that's great and all if you're looking to date, but guess what? Vietnam, you ain't going to find no local girls. You write that down. There's no local scene. This is part of the problem with Vietnam if you're looking to acclimatize. The locals don't really, they stay away. They don't have any interest in your ass. Okay? Unlike Thailand. It's different in Thailand. Why? Because, in Thailand, pretty much any girl out there, generally speaking, in the tourist areas, I'm not saying everyone, is in the game, if you understand what I'm saying. Okay? If you're talking about, they're in the game. Vietnam, you're not going to go, there's not a upfront prostitution scene in Vietnam. Okay? It's Asia. Look, it's Asia. It exists in Asia everywhere. But it's much different in Vietnam. It's underground. It's not as obvious. In Da Nang, you ain't going to find shit. Okay? For the most part. And I'm talking about dating, normal dating as well. You're not going to find locals who are interested. You're not going to see them. I'm just telling you. Go on the beach in Da Nang. You're not going to see a whole lot of Vietnamese girls. You may see one or two here or there, a little older, sitting on the bench, looking to meet a porn or something like that. But it's not Saigon. Saigon is much different. Okay? So you have to understand, Da Nang is in between. It's in the middle between Hanoi and Saigon. And let me just tell you one more thing you're not going to hear from these idiots because they're too fucking stupid to realize it. I actually have a nickname for Da Nang. I call it Hanoi Light. Let me repeat. I call Da Nang Hanoi Light. Why? Well, first of all, you got to understand Da Nang, during the Vietnam War, which, by the way, you may not know this, but in Vietnam, they call it the American War. That's right. The Vietnam War, as we know it in the West, the Vietnamese have been conditioned to call it the American War. As if America started the war. Okay, whatever. Whatever. Okay, I don't care. But anyway, my point is that during and after the war, Da Nang was the center point. This was the middle. So pretty much everybody kind of, say, in Da Nang or north of Da Nang, it's kind of the border, believed everything from Hanoi, and then south of Da Nang, they didn't believe. This is what I've been told by Vietnamese. So Da Nang is kind of in the center area. But from what I've noticed, if you know Vietnamese people and you've been to different regions of Vietnam, namely Hanoi and Saigon, the people in Da Nang more closely resemble Hanoi from their mannerisms and their thought mentality, their process, how they think. In Saigon, South Vietnam is more open because they have more of a history of kind of a Western type of mentality, right? But Da Nang, I call it Hanoi Light because it's more like Hanoi. And so by that I mean it's, Hanoi, they're very conservative. I mean, Saigon, Vietnam, they're very conservative in general. But in Hanoi, you can sense it. They're very nice, just like most Vietnamese. They're very nice and polite. But it's more like Thailand, where the niceness is more of a business. It's more of a professional. You can see the difference. Da Nang, it's the same way, kind of like that. So it's even, I've known Vietnamese from South Vietnam who have even noticed that it's weird in Da Nang. They can't relate to that. That's why I call it Hanoi Light, by the way. My point, getting back to the original discussion, was you ain't going to meet girls in Da Nang. Maybe some Western girls, but I hope you don't have your hopes up because they're not going to be beauty queens. Let me just say that. Okay? You're not going to, by and large, you ain't going to meet girls, local girls in Da Nang. There ain't shit to do there, and they don't mix. Okay? FYI. So, how to live abroad in Southeast Asia. He's going to tell you $200. $200. How to live. I mean, who the fuck is this guy? He's an unemployable bum, scammer, working illegally in Vietnam. A loser. You going to trust this guy's judgment? Does he have experience as an analyst living in the country? Ivy League degree, credentials, publications? No, he doesn't. He's a fucking scammer. I mean, this is just disgusting, a fucking piece of trash. And I am going to go to the officials in Da Nang, immigration, and I'm going to report these motherfuckers. Okay? Look at this. I mean, this guy's got to be deported. He needs to be deported. Fucking scammer. Let me show you. Dare I show you some people who are, let me show you some candidates. Let me show you some people, actually. Let me, take a look. I'm going to show you some people here. And you can decide for yourself. Okay? Turns out this guy actually apparently paid for Will's meet and greet service. So you take a look at this guy and you tell me, okay, who's coming to Da Nang and where are they getting their ideas from, and if they're potential targets, let's say, of these grifters. Okay? Take a look. Take a look for yourself. What do you think? What do you think? Huh? You understand what I'm saying? Everybody understand what I'm saying? You got it? I mean, I don't want to like disparage any of the people here, this guy, but I'm just saying, it's a typical example of people that are getting the idea to go to Da Nang because they're seeing fake content. They wouldn't have known about it unless the fake content came out. Just like in Thailand, a lot of people go there to see these videos of these fucking sex bars. And so why do you think now Pattaya now is not, there's no more Westerners basically. It's mostly, at least in certain areas, it's mostly Indians now and Arabs. Well, because, you're talking about people from repressed countries. You're talking about, they have single-sex schools. Much of India is Muslim, right? They see the videos from these losers showing the bars, and the bar girls they're basically prostitutes. So they say, oh gosh, I can go to Thailand, I can go to Pattaya, I'm going to go. And so now that whole area is Indians and Arabs. That's what I'm talking about, folks. The people in Southeast Asia, by and large now, shouldn't be there, don't belong there. They're there for the wrong fucking reason. And as a result of that, it's completely ruined Southeast Asia for people who would, like to enjoy the natural society and culture, what it used to be. It's gone. Da Nang is a perfect example, by the way. Absolutely. So look at this guy. You can watch his video here.
All right, so I did a little bit of a something today. Signed a lease on another apartment.
You see that? I mean, what do you think? Turns out, take a look. So 570. So 570. I saw his place. It ain't worth 570, but okay, whatever. I hope he's happy. You know. Here you go. Will ripped you off. I still think about that. Who pays someone $250 to look in their eyes at an airport? You see that? That Will Travels guy. You see? So apparently this person follows him, and I guess he announced that he met Will. You know, Will. Look at that. Who pays someone $250 to look in their eyes at an airport? That's basically what he's doing. So take a look at this guy. Here's another one here. Enoch in charge. I mean, he's another one that he just take a look. I mean, take a look at their. Take a look at their videos. These are guys who are, and I did a live stream a few months ago on this chef, apparently a chef in Australia, who decided to move to Vietnam with his kids and his wife. He has never been to Vietnam because he watched YouTube videos. All these guys are watching YouTube videos and deciding to move. They haven't been there. And the guy decided not to. He didn't publish my comment after I think he saw my live stream where I trashed him. Told him how fucking irresponsible he was to move his kids to Vietnam, not knowing what the fuck's going on, putting them in the educational system there, not knowing anything, never having gone there, never even visited. But take a look at this guy, his videos. Take a look at this guy's videos, and take a look at this guy's videos. You can go back and see. I mean, they just got there. Okay? How are they getting there? Well, take a look. Where's the latest videos? Where's the oldest? You can see for yourself. Oldest, okay? So his videos start just 3 months ago. There you go. Look, I'm leaving America for Vietnam. Here's why. So his whole thing is he figures, okay, I'm going to move to Da Nang, and I'm going to start this journey. I'm going to fund my life there by showing you guys how I'm doing it, what I'm doing. You can live my life with me. And this is for all these fucking losers, sitting at home doing nothing. So this is part of the grift. He wants to. He's not grifting, but he was lured into this from Evan and these other fucking scammers. And I'm sure he's got the affiliate links. Let's see where he goes. Is he going to do his own course? I'm willing to bet. I will guarantee you, if he stays in Vietnam, in Da Nang, he will end up launching his own course. Like I said, folks, it's like the digital nomad swindle, right? They want to tell you how be a digital nomad. Move to Chiang Mai. It's great. It's cheap. Come here. Oh, and I'm selling a course to show you how to become a digital nomad. So they end up basically selling you the courses to become one. They're not one. They're just selling you the course to become one. Just like Evan, he tells you, oh, come retire in Vietnam. He's not retired. He's selling courses, claiming to show you how to become retired. They're fucking scammers. Not this guy yet. I'm not gonna label him yet. And I think this guy is, I don't think he seems like a decent guy, and I can see him getting pulled into this without knowing he's a scammer. He sees everyone else doing it, so well, why don't I do it as well? So this is how the monster is fed. It gets bigger because you have situations like this, right? You see? So another guy here, this guy, take a look. Okay? 1 year ago, my first YouTube video, tune out the noise, okay, da-da. Okay. Okay, where's the Da Nang? So I haven't seen this. Let's see where. So I guess he lives in Detroit. I can see why he wants to get the hell out of there. I mean, if you're Detroit, I mean, gosh, I don't know. Maybe Da Nang is better. Here you go. Take a look. Why I chose Da Nang, Vietnam. So 6 months ago, you know, the only way you're going to know what's going on if he tells you why. He's never been to Da Nang. He's watching YouTube videos. He decided to sell everything and move to Da Nang. Never been there. That's the worst thing you can do, just like the other guy. Okay? Okay. He did the research. Sure you did. How did you do the research? I watched a video of his the other day. He did the research, but yet he doesn't understand how to work the banking system or his phone. He can't get into his bank. Anyway, I'm not going to even, you know, you can't be too hard on some of these people. You know, you understand what I'm saying. You don't want to be too hard on them because these guys aren't the problem. Okay? He's not the problem. This guy's not the problem. Evan's the problem. He's the kingpin scammer. And Travis is after that. And then after that, Will. Okay? But these guys, I think, are slowly going to get into that grift ecosystem. And I think they're going to think it's natural. It's okay to do it because they see all these other guys doing it. So, you know, I don't know that they're going to have the intent or understand that it's scammy, but certainly Evan certainly does. Okay? Travis, Will, because they provide fake content and they know they're doing it to make money. That's fraud. Okay? Take a look. So all these videos, he hasn't even moved yet. He finally moves here. Here you go, first day. So he was talking about Da Nang for like 4 months before he moved. See? Take a look. So he doesn't really know what's going on. He's a kind of a clueless guy. And folks, I can guarantee you this guy, all these people going to Da Nang is because they saw these videos, these YouTube videos. And the fact is that because it's in the algorithm. This is the big thing now. You know, a few years ago, it was Bali. Before that, it was Thailand. You know, still somewhat Bangkok. It was Chiang Mai several years ago. This is the problem. Big problem. So, can you fucking believe this? What a fucking scammer. A fucking fraud, man. Look at this. Do you want to retire early abroad? Look at this. Learn how to escape the cost of living crisis. Live abroad, retire early, and earn online. This guy's a fraud. Evan, you're a fraud, dude. Why are you hiding your last name? Huh? Somebody report this guy to the Canadian authorities, by the way. He's deceiving. These people can be reported to the Federal Trade Commission. They are deceiving people with deceptive information. If you don't believe me, all you got to do is get the transcripts of their videos, do it yourself if you don't believe me. I don't need to do it. I already know. I'm the fucking expert. Get transcripts of their videos, put them into ChatGPT, and see what you get. And then ask it questions. Is it deceptive? Can they get in trouble? What's going on? I'll guarantee you. I know the laws. Guaranteed. If enough people complain, the FTC is going to fucking shut them down. Here's another guy here. Let me show you this guy. Vagabond Awake. This guy's a dirt bag. He's a fucking dirt bag. He's been around longer than these guys. And I think he got the idea from one of the early, if not the earliest, similar guy who goes by, I guess this guy's now got 1 foot in the grave, not him, but the original guy, Retired Cheap JC. Retired Cheap, anybody know Retired Cheap JC? I was going to expose Retired Cheap JC a long time ago because he actually promoted Mark Faber. And he actually came out and started giving investment advice. You better get out of the dollar. It's gonna collapse. This is about 10 years ago. The dollar fucking soared. Let me show you here. I'll show you quickly so you know who I'm talking about. Some of you probably know. He's changed the name of his channel though. He doesn't do many videos anymore. You can see that he's been around a long time. This is like a what's his name? Retired Cheap Asia. This is another. Where is his channel? Fuck. It's another guy, JC. I mean, he won't tell you his name. I can think of what it stands for. The first letter, I can't say it, you know, because you know who runs YouTube and what they'll do. I can't even say the word. J Charlatan. That's what I'm thinking. But, well, where the hell is he? Okay, I'm going to see if I can find it in the playlist here. Yeah, I can't find it. But I don't know what happened. But anyway, he went by Retired Cheap Asia and then Retired Cheap JC. And he promoted Thailand, not this guy. Who's been doing this for, 16, 17 years. And his whole thing is, hey, JC, look, the street food is so cheap. He's the guy, I think, who started all this shit. Same bullshit, selling his memberships and all this crap. He likes to tell people he was a bodyguard for Tony Robbins, which tells you right there. But I think this vagabond awake guy, who's another fucking scammer who doesn't want to tell you his name. He goes by Dan. He's hiding. Why is he hiding? And so this guy is a dirtbag because if you look at his videos, I've seen, he's been around a long time. He used to very often, and you can see right here, he flaunts his girlfriend. He always shows her in bikinis. He tries to lure people with that. And I mean, honestly, to me, she kind of looks like a ladyboy. It's not really attractive, but you'd be surprised what some of the desperate, pathetic losers on YouTube see as attractive. So notice this clickbait here. Look at this thumbnail. So he's got this old dude with this, like, this is not even a real girl. It's not even, it's just doctored image, right? Now this guy, actually, this old dude here, he seemed like a nice guy, but it's an example of how this vagabond awake Dan, he lures people in, just like Evan does. Anytime they see an opportunity to interview somebody, these guys don't realize that they're being lured into the ecosystem, the scam ecosystem. This dude, the old dude, I think he's got enough money. He doesn't need to do this shit. He's got his own channel. He seems like a decent guy, but he's mixed up with the wrong people. This, and he didn't realize. He's like, oh yeah, you sure? I can grow my channel. Dan, he doesn't realize this Dan Vagabond Awake is a fucking scammer. Now, you can just go through his videos. I mean, look at it. He shows his little girl, who basically, I mean, I'm not going to get into that. And this guy is another fucking scammer from the Philippines, Paul Old Dog. I mean, I know all this whole fucking genre. They're all full of shit. Most of them, by the way, that I've noticed, these travel bloggers, they have criminal records, by the way. Okay? FYI. Why do you think they're not in America? Okay? There's an awful lot of them in the Philippines, by the way. So what he's been doing lately is he's kind of, this guy, $800, $1,000, so sometimes he'll put out a video, no, you can't live on that anymore, to try and make it look like he's pushing back. It's just a scam. He's already built his channel, he's got all his courses and all his shit, and now he has a disclaimer. I saw that. Let me show you. So here's his little, take a look. Take a look. Where's his, it's a typical little story. Oh, wow, they tell us some bullshit story. Look, he's got his ebooks. Look, Retire Cheap in Paradise membership. Dumaguete, Philippines, retire cheap report. Retire in Southeast Asia or Latin America. Look. Fucking scammer. Has no expertise in advising anybody. It's fucking scams. All fucking exaggerated bullshit. I'm looking for the disclaimer. Where is it? I think he has it on his channel now. He didn't used to have it before, but I think what's happened is that he realizes that after, and he blocks people. He's blocked me. So many people tell him, you can't live on this. What are you talking about? You're not accounting for this and this and this and this. You're endangering people's lives, getting them to make these major moves and thinking they can retire on their Social Security and be safe. So take a look. Let's get the disclaimer. I want you to see this. This is pretty funny. He didn't have this before. Another guy hiding, trying to evade legal action, potential legal action. But all you got to do is report him to the FTC. FTC, they'll find him. Where's the disclaimer? Look at this. You see that? He's got a separate page, a disclaimer. Where is it? See, that's the problem with YouTube. You can't see how long he's had it here. He can claim he's had it from day one. He can just put it on there. I know for a fact he has. This is new. See, it's go ahead and put disclaimers and caveats after you've already built your channel. No, sorry, doesn't work that way. So this guy, he basically pops around different countries. He doesn't stay longer than a couple of weeks usually, and he wants to tell you how he knows what the living costs are there. Basically, he's going around as a tourist. Okay, I don't know he's lived anywhere longer than a year. That's his whole thing, moving around, giving you all this bullshit cost of living garbage. He doesn't know what the fuck is going on. Absolutely clueless. Folks, remember, this is all tied into libertarian mentality. It's tied into digital nomad bullshit, and that's what this guy is, a digital nomad, scamming people, right? It's tied into the relocation people, nomad capitalists, right? Escape America. You see that? Take a look. So, let's see. What else do you have here? Membership registration page. See, so look at that. $100,000 retire business. Oh, he's going to show you how to make a retirement business. I mean, this is fucking scam. Scam. Dan, you're a scammer, dude. You're a fraud like all these other people. The only thing that you're probably not guilty of, because you're popping around, is working illegally in these countries, depending upon how long you are there. Here you go. He's got this disclaimer. Check it out. This is relatively new. So he makes all these videos, cost of living, this. Now let's read this. I mean, think about it, folks. Cost of living, I think that changes like every year or so, right? Take a look. Our cost of living estimates includes only the cheapest food, rent, and local transportation. It does not include medical insurance or other expenses. Oh, okay. So how the fuck are their living costs? If you don't have medical insurance, the cheapest food? Okay, so you're giving me a budget, a shoestring budget, calling it retire cheap in paradise, and you're subjecting me to potential demise because you're including the cheapest food costs. I mean, what the fuck kind of scam is this? Oh, I've got a disclaimer though. A fucking scammer. See, he's only added this after years of comments of people criticizing him, but you're not going to see, he deletes them all. Like all these fucking frauds on YouTube, controlling the discourse so they can pitch their fucking sales funnels. Folks, everybody on YouTube who's monetizing their channel is a scammer. Write that the motherfuck down. Now, that's fact. You know why? Because I said so. Show me somebody who's on my level of credibility. If you don't know my credibility, you better fucking look it up and do the research. There ain't nobody on my fucking level on YouTube. Okay? Nobody in the world on my level who's going to even waste their time calling out these fucking idiots. Do you really think so? People on my level are either too academic to give a shit, or they're too fucking rich to care. Look at this fucking scam. You fucking scammer, dude. So, that's it. I'm gonna do a little. I shouldn't do this because I got a webinar. I got a research webinar I'm gonna be doing, but I got to do it. Should be quick. I'm gonna do a little expose on the traders. I saw some fucking cunt who I got to expose, and then that reminded me of another cunt, a fraud, and then it'll be short and sweet. I'm gonna close this up now. And there you have it, folks. Spread this stuff around. These guys need to fucking... I mean, you're not going to hear any of the bad experiences. It's just like, how are you going to hear when someone went to one of these countries and they died in a motorbike accident? You don't hear about it. It just happened. All you're hearing about is these bullshit stories about how they love it. Oh, he just moved here. I love it. You understand? There is a tourist. You don't know the particulars. The bottom line is this, folks. There's a good fucking reason why, many good reasons why, millions of people every year risk their lives to leave the developing world to get into the West. Now, I don't know about you, but I have never heard of anyone in the West risking their fucking life to get into a developing country. Guess why? Think about it. Now, I'm not saying these developing countries are crap. I'm just telling you that they're being positioned inaccurately. These motherfuckers are lying about the reality so they can sell their fucking scams. And they're taking advantage, they're exploiting naive people, desperate people, people looking for hope, for a solution out of their personal situation. This is fraud. It's fucking fraud. You tell these motherfuckers. You go on their fucking channels. You tell them. The fucking sheriff's in town, and the sheriff's going to Da Nang to meet with immigration and the police. Okay, they don't know who they're fucking with. They're going to find out. And now I'm not going to fucking stop until something happens to them. Okay? Because these fuckers are putting people in harm's way. They need to get the fuck out, go back to their own country, and work like everybody else instead of putting people in harm's way and making money off it. And they ain't no better, in my opinion, than fucking serial killers. Hell, serial killers don't do it for money. These people are putting people in harm's way, whether immediate danger or long-term danger, potentially for money. Dirty fucking rat. Dirty fucking rat. Dirty fucking rat. Where's Evan? Dirty fucking rat. I'll be back in 10 minutes.